So, going to have to start off with my usual disclaimer. This is not intended for children. There may be adult themes and harsh language. If you are under 13, do not be watching this without your parents' permission. Probably if you're under 18, you shouldn't be watching it without parents' permission.
And what if the parents have the mentality of a 6-year-old?
Well, that's no longer on me, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have run into that problem a number of times of teenagers who actually were more mature than their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Do we actually have to put those disclaimers on our videos? I mean, I swear so much in mine, I think it's pretty obvious. They're not meant for kids.
So what, do I have to start putting disclaimers at the beginnings of my live streams and stuff and things? And
another thing I would like to make clear on this from the beginning, I put an update David Morley did just earlier today about the situation. It's the link's in the description here.
Wait a minute, which
just as far as the situation with the conference and with Aaron Ra.
Oh, there are so many situations I lose track.
So, yeah, well, and Aaron Ra did not ask for this fundraiser. David Worley started this.
Right, that's the assumption I made.
You know, and yeah, I have already heard some grumblings that Aaron's got enough money, he doesn't need this, and it's like,
huh?
Well, the fundraising isn't really just about reimbursing Aaron. It's about paying for Aaron to still come, which is what the original conference was going to do, and David's organising an entirely new one that's separate from all of that Aaron will be able to speak at, and a few other people like Rachel Oates and that. So.
Right. The other girl that called, the other girl that backed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the cost is just for an Airbnb for him to stay at.
Yeah, he's still paying for his own flights and everything. The point is giving him accommodation so that he will still come and they can still have a conference.
Yeah,
so,
can I ask,
please? For the conference more so than it is for reimbursing Aaron.
Jen, you've got something to say?
Yeah, I'm just curious as to what was the genesis of all of this upset that got everybody to cancel this or that or whatever the fuck happened.
Okay, there's also a link of a 10-minute clip of an interview David Worley did with one of the event organizers.
Yeah,
Lance Gorgachuk or something
that.
Yeah, watch that, baby.
Yeah, one of the organizers has been accused of sexual harassment.
Well, then you won't know what's going on.
Yeah,
okay.
And when David Worley interviewed this guy who was the biggest financial backer,
it was this car wreck.
Yeah, his defense, for lack of a better word, because he didn't even offer a defense, but his basic defense was that, yeah, he probably did it, but we're all guys, and I probably would have done it too.
Oh, and then
understand
things threaten David with abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, this is why you want to have the look at it to get the nuance of what's going on. But
yeah, so this is why Aaron felt he needed to distance himself from this convention.
Sorry about that.
Don't blame him at all.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the guy was attempting to make a joke, and it was a really, 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 really shitty joke. Even David accepts that it was a joke, but still.
Yeah, I'm just getting coffee. Don't mind.
Yeah, well, I watched it myself, and it's like, yeah, there is no way that was okay.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, even if that's said as a joke, that's making light of sexual assault, and he can just go fuck himself for that.
Right. Like I said, it doesn't make it any better. It's just he wasn't actually. He was trying to make a joke, and it's a really stupid joke.
Yeah, it's not right in any context. What he said is not right in any context.
Mm-hmm. And it was like
it's the same reason why I don't like people like Ricky Gervais. You know, if you can make light of these things that you shouldn't be, and you think that's okay because it's all in the name of humor, then there is something fucked up about you. Because there's a difference between making humor about...
Just come back to the way Trump's behaving is making people think that it's okay to behave this way.
So the original conference has been shut down completely?
It's not shut down completely, but Aaron Ra and another woman, sorry I've lost her name, have decided that they're not going to be speaking there, so we'll have to see as time goes by if other speakers decide to drop out.
I see.
And some of them may not because like he said, he was paid for some things, and if it's gotten to the point where they can't pay back or to pull out, they might have to go through with it anyways.
Yeah, well, and that's in the update there. David mentioned that Aaron had to return like a $1,200 fee that he had already been paid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that would make sense.
So just to be clear, he's still got the tickets because they were non-refundable. He's just had to give the money back to the convention organizers.
Yeah.
That's what's going on? Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically, he's stuck with the tickets whether he uses them or not.
Mm-hmm.
So
but
the plan is for him to use it and
having the hotel covered was part of the arrangement with the organizer, so if he's not doing their event, he doesn't have a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And seriously, as far as taking up a collection from the community, for all he's done for the community, he is probably the best known and most visible speaker of the community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him and Matt Dillahunty probably kind of share that position.
Yeah.
I would say it's Aaron, Matt, and Seth.
Yeah, Seth as well.
I thought Matt Dillahunty was persona non grata for some other.
Oh, that's that whole Woodford thing.
No.
No?
It's the Silverman thing.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Fill me in on this.
Yeah, there's multiple avenues
goodness.
where Matt's taken points of view that other people in the community disagree with to a high level, and Matt doesn't endear himself to people in the way he goes about doing that.
So do you want a rundown of the Silverman thing, or is this not the time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, go ahead. It's good background here.
Oh no, there's a video you can watch about 10 minutes long that'll answer all those questions. Diane.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Jen, if you have a link to that video, can you? Oh no, I guess you can drop it.
She's quid pro quoing.
Yeah.
I was just
she's going after me.
Diana.
Hey, I watch it, okay?
So Silverman did an interview with Armin Navi, and basically he's suing the two people who accused him of sexual misconduct. One of those women is apparently Beth Presswood, Matt Dillahunty's ex-wife.
Yeah.
This could be part of the reason why they split. Nobody knows. This is just the rumor. And Silverman contests that Matt is blackballing him and saying, I will not appear at any event where Silverman appears at, therefore nobody will bring in Silverman, because if he's there, Matt won't go there. So he's suing Matt for that. And American Atheists and...
Well, okay, this may be the video I did see. But okay, my opinion and my opinion alone, I get the impression that Silverman's trying to make it all about him, and it's not.
And Matt's entitled to say he doesn't want to appear on stage with somebody he doesn't want to.
Well, and it's unfortunate for the community that we have a split like that. But I can, I can understand in certain situations, where somebody finds what someone else did so egregious that they don't want to be in the same event with them.
But even if Matt did say that, I'm just saying what I've been gathered. I don't know if it's true or not. Even if Matt said that, he's already got sexual assault charges against him. which would be nobody would want to invite him to their events anyways. So it's like which holds more weight? You've been you've been accused of sexual assault by 2 different women, or Matt Dillahunty says he won't be on stage with you. Which of those carries more weight? I kind of
Yeah.
think the sexual assault does more. And then, there's a little bit of weight there, but it's one of those things where, like, you can't in any way, shape, or form confirm that the reason you're not being invited to an event that Matt is at is because Matt said he won't go on stage with you, and not that the organizers don't want you there because of the sexual assault charges.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't really split those two.
Mm-hmm.
It's But yeah, see, it's pretty obvious that the weight would be on the sexual assault charges. No one wants to be attached to that.
Right.
In some
Well,
ways,
and certainly the events don't want to have the.
He should
sorry.
be innocent until proven guilty. But
Yeah.
The problem
But
is,
certainly
though,
even
the event organizers don't want to have the bad PR of, having somebody who's got that on them.
and if
then
you're found guilty, then you've platformed somebody who is found guilty of sexual abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this element of you have to
man.
distance yourself a bit until things have gone through courts and stuff. But,
Well, yeah,
That
until
doesn't mean
the
we-
accusations can be sorted out, it's probably good to take a hiatus for a while.
yeah,
Well,
I mean, we can have a
then-
personal opinion on this, but I would be loath to condemn the man until he's actually been charged.
Well, and that's
But,
part of what
okay.
he says. He's like, the accusations made against me are still within, like, what's the term, like, when you run out of time? The word won't come to my brain. Like,
statute of limitations.
they're still within the statutes of limitations. So these people
Is there a statute of limitations for sexual offences? Because I'm pretty sure
there
there
is.
in Australia.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure there is in the U.S.
Yes,
Someone
in the
wants to
U.S.
check.
there is.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And again, what it is can vary from state to state.
Yeah. Now the whole thing here about okay, the trial hasn't gone proceeded or anything like that. Here's the problem. People bringing the charges, most often women, face a shitload of threats,
I agree.
violence, the
Oh,
whole bit.
yeah.
So saying that the trial hasn't proceeded is meaningless. Because who is going to proceed with something they could get killed over or worse?
Well, this is where I came from this morning on David's stream, was that your first and foremost is you support the victim.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
You believe and trust the victim. You support the victim. However, in the act of believing them that they've been this victim of abuse, because even if it's only from their perspective and not from a legal perspective, they still feel this abuse. As a victim of abuse myself, I know this. So you have to support the victim. On the other side of that, you say complete condemnation of the accused until that is actually shown to be the case that you should completely condemn them. I'm not saying you shouldn't distance yourself from them, or say, look, you're going to have to take a break until all this is sorted. But pointing the finger and go, oh, you're definitely guilty, is not the way we should behave. There should still be a presumption of innocence for them, even though we have to consider the rights of the person.
Yeah, and everybody should go back and watch the interview that Jens did with David earlier this evening. She stated it all very well in that.
Yeah, I'm not
and
going to go.
it is a difficult balance, and also what you had said in there about, just kind of the court of public opinion. That is a very dangerous thing, that, people get basically convicted by the media before there's ever a chance for their cases to come to court.
And we've seen it online. We have seen convictions by Twitter, by Tumblr.
Yeah, well, and unfortunately with Twitter, it can happen overnight.
That's right. And the same has happened with Tumblr. There was a a case years ago with a YouTuber, Alex Day, who everyone's going to go, who the fuck is Alex Day?
You beat me to it.
Yeah. He's a singer, songwriter, and he was a vlogger. He definitely did atrocious things. He openly cheated on his girlfriend with an awful lot of women, and she didn't know about it till later. But there was accusations that he forced himself sexually on some of these women that he cheated with on. Now, the allegations did come out thick and fast, but none of them, despite the fact they were all happy to put their faces to the allegations on Tumblr and put it out there, no one took him to court over it. No one sought to have him prosecuted over any of this. So you're left with the quandary that he got completely crucified by public opinion of him and was never saw his day in court. So is he guilty? Were these people just puffing up a little bit over it? You know, this is the rhetoric that goes around it, and then it's like you end up splitting a community because some people go, well, you're just laying false allegations, which isn't fair on the women who suffered. But it's also not fair on him because he doesn't get a chance to prove his own innocence because they never went to court anyway. So all he has is the personal attack from Tumblr and the public opinion. Yeah. And I have great issues with this. Regardless of his guilt or not, I have issues with the way the whole thing played out.
Yeah, people can have their career destroyed. People can have their career destroyed before they've ever had a chance to have their say.
Within 5 days, he had no career,
and there are no constitutional.
Never recovered from it.
If you want
and
to
no
put
restitution, no. But I mean, I don't know that he deserved restitution. He admitted to cheating on his girlfriend.
Yeah, but that's not a legal issue, and that's a personal issue between the two.
That is still a personal issue, but he still would have caught flack from it because she was a public figure and a lot more popular than he was. So he still would have caught that public flack just from the way he treated her, and a lot of people did just pick him on that. So I don't know that he could have completely avoided the comeback, but being labelled a sexual predator, especially as people started, because this was around the time that a whole heap of YouTubers were being discovered that they'd been sexual predators to underage people. So he got wrapped up in that, despite the fact that none of the women he cheated on his girlfriend with were underage. So he got called a pedophile and all these other things, which even if he'd been an abuser of these women, he was not a pedophile. But he got tarred with that brush as well because it was in the part of that whole thing.
And the problem is that if you want to frame it in these terms, I know they only apply in the U.S., but there are no constitutional protections or similar against damage from trial by media or trial by general public. Well, and which I think may be one of the reasons that is a preferred method of proceeding against someone who is thought to have committed such acts.
See,
they've got the upper hand.
That's my issue with the Silverman case. That I can now I'm not saying he's guilty or innocent. I'm still on the fence about that. But the charges are still within the statute of limitations, like what he's accused of doing. But instead of saying, hey, he's in trouble for this, I'm going to go to the police and bring this forward through the police, I'm going to go to BuzzFeed and release this information to BuzzFeed and not give him a day in court and not give him any way of defending himself that won't make him look like shittier.
Yeah. And the other side of this is, even if it does go to court, by the time you've dragged this person through the media, they cannot get a fair trial. A perfect example of this is Bill Cosby. Regardless of his guilt or innocence, he can never be tried by a jury of his peers. Not fairly. Yeah, his right to a fair trial has been removed from him by the media.
Yeah.
and that is not as abhorrent as some of the things he was accused of, but it is still abhorrent.
Well, and unfortunately, these days, even if it's not anyone famous, or if it is someone famous and the media doesn't touch it, with all the social media, the cycle runs through so quickly that millions of people hear about it.
Yeah. And
this is why this is worse now than it used to be, because once upon a time, if the mainstream media didn't care about it, nobody knew about it.
Yeah.
Whereas now we can publicize ourselves to a certain extent, and people will do this to get fame themselves. I'm not saying that's what's happened in these cases, but I'm pretty sure some of the people who've thrown accusations, not the originals, but some of the people who've come later to throw accusations, have probably just jumped on a bandwagon.
Yeah. Well, there definitely are some cases of that.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. Get the.
And then there's the other aspect of the Bill Cosby case, which pisses me off too, which I mentioned earlier on David's show, was that what about the other people who were part of that show? Because networks won't play the show now because no one wants to watch it. Well, they think no one wants to watch it.
What about all the cast members?
What about the other cast members? They didn't do anything wrong. They get cut. They get cutbacks.
Yeah, they lose all the royalties for when the show would be running
because this show no longer runs.
Yeah,
and it's not their fault what Cosby did. And so the art that's created by people like this should be separated from them.
Okay, so let's get inflammatory here. You've got no problem with a who's the filmmaker that I believe admitted to raping a 13-year-old girl, Polanski. You have no problem with a Polanski film.
Would I watch a Polanski film? I don't like Polanski anyway, but
okay, so you got an easy.
If I didn't have a personal if I didn't have a dislike of Polanski's films anyway, and that's got nothing to do with his rape, I would still probably watch it if I liked it. I mean, there's things that I've watched from other people who I don't like them personally.
Realize I'm just playing.
Let's give a really good example for you and me, Diana. Glinner.
Wait a minute.
As in turf leader, Glinner.
Oh, well. Okay.
Graham Lineman.
So it's funny. Purple and I had this discussion a couple weeks back. There's basically like bad person makes good art type thing.
Yeah.
And what I had said was
Woody Allen or something like that. Yeah.
Right.
Same with Woody Allen.
My thing would be, is the person going to personally profit from me consuming their media?
Well,
if
my
answer
point
is
would be,
no,
if you're convicted of something, you should no longer get royalties.
Well, why? It's still yours. You still made it, whether you committed a crime after the fact.
If the crimes were committed during the production of a thing, then no, I don't think you should.
Okay, that's fair.
So some of Cosby's accusations are labelled at him from a time when he did the Cosby Show. Okay, therefore, he should no longer get royalties from the Cosby Show, but the others should.
So, but the position that I've come to when it comes to that is, if it's playing on TV and I like the show, I'll watch it. If it comes up on the radio, I'll listen to it. Am I going to go to their Facebook page or not Facebook, their monetized YouTube channel? No. Am I going to buy their CDs? No. But if it's in such a way where I'm fairly certain that I am not directly contributing to that artist, I will consume their stuff. If I've already bought it, if it was
if you already own it, that's it. Yeah, I'm of the same opinion. I probably wouldn't contribute personally to giving that artist money. But I have no objection to if I already own it or things. An example I gave of this was Rolf Harris, which you are probably going to go, who the hell's Rolf Harris?
Yep.
It worked on David's show because he's being British. He knows. Rolf Harris isn't expatriate Australian well, he's in prison now, but it lived in the UK. He was an entertainer, an artist, etc. He got picked up by Project U Tree for diddling kids, basically, and he was another person who had no option of a fair trial because of the media assassination of him before it went to trial. Having said that, there was fairly good evidence against him, and they were fairly lenient on his sentencing because they actually did take into account the media bias in his case. So, and he's quite old now. So, but before he went to court, whilst he was being trialed by media, because he grew up in my city, he grew up in a suburb called Bassendean. There was a hardware store. Well, it's still there as far as I know. There's a hardware store in Bassendean that when he still lived in Australia, Rolf drew painted artwork on one of the walls in this shop. And that was there, and it was his artwork, and he's really well known for his art and everything. And as soon as Rolf got picked up by U Tree and the press got onto it, this store painted over his artwork. Now, I think that's disgusting that they did that they even felt they needed to, because you can still look at that. You could still look at that painting. They were not paying anything else to it. They were not giving Rolf any more royalties for that painting. People could still look at that and enjoy it regardless of who painted it. And that's my issue there. There's still Rolf Harris songs I will listen to because I like his style of doing his entertainment. I think the guy's reprehensible for what he did, but I can still enjoy his art.
Well,
and I need to be able to separate those two things.
Yeah, I think covering over the painting, was most likely a business decision, on the part of the owners that regardless of what they personally may have felt about him, they didn't want the negative PR of people pointing out that they're displaying his artwork.
I agree, but I mean, Leonardo da Vinci.
So, but it's another way that the court of public opinion condemns people.
And it's an excellent illustration of the law of unintended consequences. Because, the whole thing about we're going to take everything away from this person, we're not going to see their art or whatever else leads
we're
to this sort of
history, and I'm against censoring history.
And I mean, it's be it one way or the other, it is an issue to contend with. I mean, that brings it out into the open.
For example, should we burn all copies of Mein Kampf because Hitler wrote?
Oh hell no! Oh hell no!
Exactly. So it's the same thing here, and I find it socially reprehensible destroying things of people just because of one thing they did, when other things that they did are still have a value to society.
Yeah, I mean, now come after me if you want to. I happen to own a copy of Mein Kampf.
I don't, but my niece does, and I'm planning on reading it.
Yeah, it gets you into the head of this maniac. Oh Lord. Anyway.
Yeah, he is absolutely nuts.
That's why. I mean, that's why it's important to keep it, because that particular book, I think, it gives you a window into his mind and how he was thinking, and that's kind of an important thing to have about somebody at that large of a scale.
Yeah.
His paintings. I mean, Hitler actually painted some absolutely gorgeous paintings. I would not advocate destroying them. If we're going to go down this road, we need to destroy all the works of Leonardo da Vinci. We need to drop everything by Sir Isaac Newton from the history.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah.
There are people who advocate that, though.
Yes, I know. Rachel McKinnon is one of them. And I want to slap her.
Can I watch?
That's the problem. We can't just censor our history based on on a handful of bad actions by a person. The other things that they did are still important to history, and we shouldn't destroy them.
Yeah, I think there is a different conversation there between, talking about contemporary artists and talking about historical figures.
Yeah, but today's contemporary artists become tomorrow's historical
You're-
figures.
Through the lens of our current morality, you can condemn just about everyone in history.
Oh yeah, and I mean there are already people who suggest that it might not be a bad idea to burn the works of Augustine or Aquinas, that sort of thing, because of the association with the Catholic theology, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like bullshit on that.
No,
They
I
may
agree
have
with
they
you.
may have written garbage, but why burn it?
No, I agree with you, Diana. This is the thing. We shouldn't be censoring what is our contemporary stuff now because we are removing things from history in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have the right to dictate what history will be for the future generations. I know we write the history books effectively in our own time, but we have to be careful about how we go about doing that.
Yeah. Well, and that is something we have to be very careful of, that, if we try to cleanse history, then future generations, we're denying them the opportunity of the lessons that were learned from it.
Yes.
I mean, already we have people trying to rewrite history down in Texas.
Yeah.
If we condemn that, we should.
They want to make slavery not have happened.
Right.
Question:
I have all the answers.
How oh, what the hell's your name? Jen. Jen.
Her name is Santa Claus.
How do y'all treat Mel Gibson down there in Australia?
I like Mel Gibson's films. I don't necessarily agree with the guy himself. I think he's a bit of a nut job.
Oh yeah.
But I wouldn't not watch his films again. I like Lethal Weapon.
Gibson played a
the original Mad Max films were amazing.
Gibson played a damn good Hamlet.
Yes, he did. So I'd never want to get rid of his stuff.
So you're comfortable with him making money? You're comfortable with him making money off of the royalties generated because you've put eyeballs on one of his earlier works?
I have to live with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if it's going to be on the TV, whether I watch it or not, it's going to be on TV.
Mm-hmm.
If I enjoy the movie and it's on TV and I've got nothing better to watch, why not watch it? It doesn't mean I like the guy. It doesn't mean I support him. It just means I like the movie. But now, if they start playing, if they were to do a Mad Max movie-thon at the local theater, charging $12 a ticket to see each movie, no, I'm not going to go to do that. I'm not going to pay for that.
I don't have the $12 for ticket to do that.
I just.
Gibson came to Australia and he wanted to give a talk on something. I wouldn't go and see that because I'm not interested in the guy himself. But a movie he's in, I may be interested in, depending on what the movie is about.
Honestly, I haven't seen a Gibson film since Hamlet, but
I think the only thing I've seen by him is Mad Max, really. Oh, Braveheart.
Weapon. Oh, Braveheart, yeah.
Yeah, Yeah. Wait, Lethal Weapon? Is that what you said? Yeah. I thought Lethal Weapon was Bruce Willis.
It is.
That's Die Hard, isn't it?
Would any of you watch a Ronald Reagan movie?
Okay, personally, I would not because they are artistic garbage.
A movie about Reagan or a movie by Reagan?
Well, remember, Reagan was an actor.
Yeah.
Prior to being California governor. No, I've seen a couple Ronald Reagan films, and it's like, no, I'm not going to do it again. Oh Lord!
Okay, if I can just pause the conversation briefly for a moment. Just wanted to mention I dropped the link in the YouTube chat for the fundraiser
Did it
for
break?
getting for getting Aaron Ra a hotel room or whatever it is. And the the fundraiser is in British pounds. So for people in America,
Oh, sorry.
a British pound is about $1.40 US.
Oh wow!
Just so people have some idea what the conversion rate is if they're
But it's
wanting to make a
changed a bit since
contribution.
last. Yeah.
Sorry, I was confusing Lethal Weapon with Die Hard in my brain. That's what I was doing. I flipped those two movies. The Die Hard movies and Lethal Weapon.
Well, Die Hard was Willis.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I
Yeah.
was thinking of Die Hard, not Lethal Weapon.
Okay.
So, would any of you watch any John Travolta or Tom Cruise movies, knowing that a portion of that money goes to the Church of Scientology?
Well, I've always hated John Cruise.
John Cruise.
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise.
Tom,
Yes,
Tom
it's sort of
Cruise.
a mixture.
Sorry, yeah. No, I've always hated Tom Cruise just because the type of movies he made were basically, always the over macho guy, and it's like that just always gave me a bad taste.
My favorite Tom Cruise movie is Cocktail.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't even
most
know
of
the
the Tom
film.
Cruise movies are the very definition of toxic masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Cocktail was a bit different in that.
Okay, I
so-
didn't see that one.
Well,
It's one
I
of
mean,
his earlier ones.
the last thing I saw from him that I paid to see was probably Interview with a Vampire, which was what, the 90s.
That was a good movie too.
But again, it's the difference between will you watch their movies and will you pay to see their movies. If it's will you pay to see their movies, the answer for me is no. If it's on
I-
TV, yeah,
I
I'd
bought
watch
the
it.
DVD of that because I'm a big fan of Anne Rice. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and that's where it gets more difficult, like you were saying before about, if you like the other actors that were in the movie with them, are
Not
they
that Anne
being
Rice
denied
was an
something just because they got involved with something with one person who did a bad thing?
Well, yeah, and it's the same sort of thing. I mean, Anne Rice
I'm
basically wrote the
sorry,
storyline.
I'm going to have to
basically,
step
he did
out
write the
and
story.
step back in.
Well,
Okay.
how closely do the films resemble the books?
Oh, it's been a while.
Reasonably, not exactly. It's the same with anything in Hollywood. A lot's left out.
Yeah, because that's what I meant by basically, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm full of shit, but it's beside the point.
But
I'll
it's
wear
the same
it,
as
man.
what I was talking about with Graham Lanham. I mean, for us as trans people, Graham Lanham is the freaking enemy. He is a fucking asshole turf leader. However, Father Ted, Black Books, IT Crowd are absolutely brilliant comedies and stand on their own as brilliant bits of entertainment. And I wouldn't stop watching them just because one of the men who wrote it is a fucking asshole.
Well, a lot of comedians are assholes. So,
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's what I said about Ricky Gervais. He's a fucking asshole.
I
Randolph
really-
Richardson makes a good point in the side chat that, the South Park episode about Scientology, that Tom Cruise did actually do a voice in that and actually did something useful.
unusual.
Wasn't that the episode that made them lose the guy that played Chef?
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hi, Angie.
I really liked with how they dealt with that
Isaac Hayes.
by like killing off the character. There's like they're like, okay, we're just gonna kill your character off, so there's no way for you to change your mind. This is a permanent decision.
Yeah, it's South Park. How many times did they kill Kenny?
Well, I mean, but that's canon for the show. No, Kenny's the only character that's ever come back from the dead, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in.
And I did
years.
like it took them 15 seasons to come up with an explanation, but they have a canon explanation for how he keeps doing that within the framework of the show makes sense.
Mhm.
But he's a child of Cthulhu.
Yeah. So he's an eternal, so every time he gets killed, he gets reborn.
Yeah, his poor mum.
So, but the question is, and I've never figured this out, is do the other kids remember the deaths?
No, he explained that basically Kenny and his parents are the only ones who remember him being reborn. No one else ever remembers him getting killed.
Oh God, could you imagine the life of that woman every time he's killed? So she literally have to give birth to him again?
Yes, she
Yes.
does. That's within the canon.
Oh my.
He dies that evening. She gives birth again. She gets pregnant, gets full size, and gives birth. And then they put the baby in the bed, and by the next morning, it's fully grown Kenny, right to the age he already was.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Eek.
It's kind of terrifying, actually.
Yes, actually.
Not the way you want to be giving birth.
Yeah, well, and they
I
explain
don't want
this
to
all
give birth
that
at all.
that his parents had joined a Cthulhu cult because they were offering free beer at one of the meetings.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I hope it was a really good imperial stout. No? Okay,
No,
I'll go away now.
go hide down. No. But yeah,
I still want to find out what that brand was of that cinnamon whiskey that Aaron Robb brought to the after party after the Ark encounter.
Oh,
That was
geez,
good
I
stuff.
don't even. I don't even
That reminds me, I have to save some money because there is a guy that I have a connection with here in Georgia. He makes what he calls kilted bear rum, and he takes rum and he adds like a bear in a kilt.
Okay.
I didn't make the name, but he takes the rum and he adds a bunch of stuff to it, and it's like part firecracker, but like not that bad. Like if you guys know what firecracker is, it's a cinnamon rum, so it's like a firecracker popping in your mouth. It's so spicy, but this stuff is spicy with a little bit of cinnamon, but there's also honey, and there's the rum, honey, cinnamon, and a bunch of other stuff that he adds to it, and it's really good. And I want to bring it to the next Faithless Forum.
Hello, Randolph. Hope you weren't
Hello.
down there too long.
Hi,
I hope
Tweety.
you can hear me
Oh,
okay.
my word. God, I'm old. I did mention that I'm old, right?
You can hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
I did not hear you asking whether you could be heard. No.
And Jen's back. Well, nobody could hear you until I clicked on your picture.
Thank you.
Oh my.
And since Randolph has come man converted, and kind of the question of, question of definitions. How do you define the difference between what are morals and what are ethics?
Yeah, I put one up in the chat thinking that ethics are more oriented around fact and evidence and kind of an objective statement of what the given scenario is, not objective morals or anything. And then morality tends to be more emotional centered, but there's some overlap, I suspect. I haven't really completely clearly thought it through, though. I'm trying to come to terms with this, so I'm interested in other people's perspectives on
Well,
this.
for the sake of argument, let's assume that everyone agrees that it's all subjective.
Yeah.
So
I
the
agree.
source of the morals is not what we're discussing here.
Right.
Or the
I
particular
had always
morality.
taken morals as being more of a group thought thing. That morals is what society agrees on, and ethics for more individual decisions.
Huh,
And
interesting.
I flipped it. What I meant to say was, when I replied, I said morals are the idea, ethics are the actions, I guess, is what I meant to say.
Yeah, these are fascinating ideas.
I'm running away from the question because I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the thing. They're words that we use all the time, but if you ask
Yes.
somebody to define them, most people can't.
Well, most
Yeah.
people will conflate the two.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's like
Well,
when you ask somebody, how do you feel about something? That's their moral compass. That's how they feel. That's where they're going. But then you ask them, what do you do X or Y? That's their ethics. That's their morals in action. That's their ethics.
Yeah.
Uh,
A lot of people do use the terms interchangeably.
Hmm.
Although I have
Yeah.
never heard anybody refer to an ethical compass. It's always a moral compass.
yeah.
I
But
I've always thought that ethics
ethics
were.
Sorry, Peps. Or Jen, whoever's talking, I talked over, sorry.
I've always thought that ethics were what you did when no one was watching, and morals were what you allowed to be your public persona of right and wrong, and ethics were how you actually lived it privately.
So there's a
Yeah,
voyeuristic
there's a-
differentiation.
There's a quote, and I want to attribute it to Winston Churchill, but I don't know if that's accurate.
Okay.
Said that character is doing the right thing when no one is watching.
Yeah, I think that's there's a lot of truth to that. I also think that another good indicator of character is in seeing how somebody deals with adversity.
I like what Angie said.
Well, does that kind of say
What
that
did Angie
that
say?
you have to or can only exhibit these things in a position of adversity, that it's not applicable in less adverse situations, or morals are less moral in a less
No,
adverse
I think-
situation?
I think a situation where there is a adversity that you're faced with is kind of like almost like a test, so to speak. I don't want to use that word so much because it almost sounds like a religious thing, but it's. I think that if people are only going to be ethical or moral in an extreme circumstance and not in a regular circumstance, that they're being inconsistent.
So I know its definitions or words are descriptive, not prescriptive, or one of those two. But I did pull up the definitions just to see what they say. And it says
great.
ethics is listed as a moral principle that governs a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity, and morals are a person's standard of behavior or beliefs concerning what is and is not acceptable for them to do.
Yeah, and that's where I think you were alluding to ethics being the action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it seems what you said pretty much goes along with those definitions.
Yeah,
And I said that before I looked it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
that's why I'm noting that. Is,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
morals is based
I lost you again,
on
Purple.
whether it is ethical. Or the meter stick for the rest of the world, okay?
Thank you for using metric.
I
Yeah,
try to
I
use
think-
both. You know, I'm aware of, especially
pretty
the
much
times
using
I'm on.
the same-
I'm not on the times that most Americans are on anyway, so I'm usually dealing with people in other countries.
I'm Canadian. We're on metric, like most of the world.
Okay, this is the main reason I won't watch a Ronald Reagan movie. He's the one who killed the U.S. going metric.
You know, what'd be kind of cool
Okay.
is if Donald
Well,
Trump actually tried to finish that project. He could actually be credited for doing something useful.
Yeah, we
Okay,
were
no, wait, we
supposed
can't
to
have
have we were supposed to have gone totally metric by 2000.
Yeah.
But while
But that-
Ronald Reagan was president, it was one of his cost-saving measures that he killed the plan for the Federal Highway Department to go metric to save the cost of reprinting all the signs.
Well,
And the whole
there
world is
was-
confused when they go to the U.S. Yep.
But
there is that
basically you are
stretch of
metric,
highway
though.
from Tucson to the border that is in metric. It's the only stretch of highway in the U.S. that is signed metrically.
Oh, there is a part in the U.S. that is. Wow.
Yes, it's only a few miles long. Goes from Tucson to Nogales.
Are there a lot of speed traps along
Well,
there?
I
there
cannot
was a time when
remember.
American exceptionalism meant those things that America could do that no one else could do because we were such a great nation and a great people. And today, American exceptionalism has become what we won't do because we're such a stuck in the mud, ignorant and foolish nation that we won't follow what the rest of the world has done, even though it's far smarter than what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
Exceptionalism. I'll
Yeah.
do this except that.
Well, and it is amazing how many like industrial standards the entire world got stuck with because US companies were using them, even though people in Europe or other countries had better ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the thing is, the entire imperial system that you use in the US is now based off the metric system. So all your measurements are now defined in terms of the metric system.
But they have the size of the units when those units were defined in another way. Yeah.
Yes, they do, but now they are all defined as parts of the metric system because the metric system is all defined by things in nature. So,
Yeah.
like,
Well, what's really fun is recently the coulomb and the ampere were redefined. Let's see now, how is it? The coulomb is the amount of charge that is passed by 1 ampere in 1 second. The problem with that is the coulomb is actually based on something physical.
Yeah. Well, and there are elements in the US that have always been metric, and people don't realize they're metric and just deal with sloppy measurements. Like the standard
The
railroad
metric system
tracks
was
are
first
4 feet 8.5
proposed.
inches. But in some places they use what they call the narrow gauge, which in the US a lot of people refer to as the 3-foot track.
But it's a meter.
Yeah, it's 39 and 5/8 inches. It's a meter because it was a standard set by a British company.
Interesting.
The metric system was first introduced to be adopted by the United States in the late 1700s. It was refused because it was termed blasphemous.
Yep.
So even then, the religious zealots were screwing up America, just like they're doing today. How long are we gonna
Alexander
put up with these
Hamilton
people?
pushed for the metric system when the country was founded. And nobody else wanted to go along with it. They made him Secretary of the Treasury, which is why the only thing we have metric is our money. 10 pennies
Yeah.
to a dime, 10 dimes to a dollar.
Yep.
I actually have fun telling Americans once in a while their money's on metric. And I get a kick out of it when they disagree and they refuse to admit that it is. They're so sure it's not on metric.
Yeah. Well, because at the time, you hear references to, 2 bits and pieces of 8.
Yeah.
And that's because at the time it was common to cut a coin into 8 pieces.
Yeah.
And Hamilton
each-
wasn't having any of this. He wasn't going to deal with eighths. He wanted everything to be metric. So whatever they put him in charge of became metric regardless of what anyone else said.
And that was the fun part about the way the whole thing worked. The whole thing about 2 bits, 25 cents, a quarter, 2/8. That's
Yep.
where that came from. The fun part is, I am a big fan, as we all know, of the old days in the space exploration thing and everything. I do a pretty good job of thinking in metric until it comes to the air to ground from the Apollo missions. All that is in nautical miles and feet per second. I can't think of it any other way. It's just ingrained.
So you're doing both metric and imperial at the same time, almost.
Almost.
Yeah, of course that
Pretty-
sometimes leads to disaster,
Yes.
such as the first Spanish submarine.
or the
And that'll be U.S. imperial, not British imperial.
Yep. Well, and a gallon is different in the UK than it is in Canada than it is in Britain.
Yep. Yeah, that's
We use
true.
the same
North
word
Pole
for 3
mission.
different containers.
Yeah, that's a whole bunch of fun. And
But yeah,
the one,
there was a story, 1980s or 1990s, that the Spanish built a submarine, but they contracted part of it to an American company. And apparently they did not put the designation for the weight units on there. So the Spanish were thinking kilograms and the Americans built it in pounds. So the submarine came out to be about 60,000 tons more than it was supposed to be, which meant it could dive real well, but it could never surface again.
Uh-oh. That's a problem.
It's like airlines always fuel in liters, but it never used to. It used to be if you're in
Wait
the
a
US,
minute.
yeah.
They don't fuel in pounds.
You mean gallons?
Gallons.
I mean pounds.
Well, yeah, I
they
get what you're saying.
Weight. Yes, they do fuel in weight. I'm sorry, they fuel in weight, but it is metric. It used to be that if you were fueling up in the US, they would fuel up imperial, and then they fuel up metric in other countries. And there was a few plane accidents caused by it because pilots would get confused and order the wrong amounts of fuel.
Yeah, that needs to
So
be
they
fixed.
said, no, we are standardizing it, and as most of the world is metric, it's going to be metric.
Yeah.
No,
Good
I have
policy.
no problem. I have no problem thinking metric in the lab. No problem at all. As soon as I walk through the door of the lab, metric. That's all that exists. But what really impressed me was the slimy bastards would not leave me alone until I took some courses in the petroleum engineering program. First time I was at uni, and those idiots were just stubborn to a fault. Well, stubborn is a fault, but I mean to the highest degree, because they did everything in pounds, feet, seconds, and even when in the science, it's all in SI units. Whole
Yeah.
bunches of fun, and I think they still do it that way in engineering. Well, some of the engineering
Well, yeah, when you want to be
are
really
coming.
precise, it's a lot easier to deal with metric.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's designed with that in mind.
Yeah,
the metric
I actually
god
wind up
designed
doing
it.
a lot of my designs in metric, and then I have to try and translate them because all the materials I buy are in imperial.
You can always cut them down.
Yeah, the biggest problem comes with, the meter being a little more than 3 feet. Because if I wind up buying a 4-foot board for something that's a meter, there's a fair amount of waste involved there.
Yeah.
American problems.
Yeah.
America is a problem.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, and, I'm just annoyed that America never went through with the plan to go metric. Because it would make so much of my work so much easier.
I think there's two small countries that follow America on the using imperial. So if America had gone to metric, perhaps the whole world would be.
I expect
Possibly.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I'm going to have to look this up just to see who the others
so.
are.
Yeah, there's one country in West Africa, I think, and
Yeah.
One of them's Burma.
that's the only one I can think of.
I think one of them's Burma.
Is it Burma and Sierra Leone?
Okay, that sounds about right.
Let's look up.
It could be Burma just because we kind of,
Only
left
3
them there in World
countries:
War
the
II.
U.S., Liberia, and Myanmar.
Oh,
Myanmar.
Myanmar.
Yeah,
Myanmar.
Burma
Still
got
stick to
Burma.
the
The
imperial.
current name of what once was Burma.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's the
Why
U.S.,
did you say Burma? I thought it.
Liberia, and that country whose name I could not pronounce.
Myanmar.
Oh, God.
Myanmar.
There, you said it
Sorry.
perfectly.
Python rules.
I run circles around you logically.
Wow, you did the accent quite
Nobody
well there.
expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition. Our chief weapon is surprise. Surprise and fiafia and surprise and ruthless efficiency. And I can't remember quite all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, the accent sounds fantastic.
Not sure. Been a lot of practice.
Well, America is also why we're stuck with the Phillips screwdriver instead of the Robertson.
Yeah, we do a lot of
Okay,
Robertson up here in Canada,
Yeah,
Like
well,
the
that's
Robertson.
but we also it's square shape.
yeah.
And there's also, but we also do Phillips and flathead, and but on electrical, like electrical outlets and things, it's still flathead. And there's something I'm seeing a little bit in computers once in a while for some really high tech, expensive stuff. It's similar to Robertson, but it's a triangular shape.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Well, and then we also have the Torx bit, which is a 6-point
Yeah,
one.
I was just.
Those
yeah,
are
I
more
was gonna
common.
mention
That's
that one.
an Allen. That's an Allen screwdriver, isn't it?
No,
Yeah,
an
some are.
Allen is a hexagon and a Torx is a star.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Diana, you remember this one? I have a theory about the Brontosaurus.
Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I remember that
I
one.
remember this one.
Shoot
Yep.
me, shoot me.
Oh, it's about a dinosaur. Of course, I remember it.
Fatter in the middle and then gets thin again at the other.
What? Say that again.
I think you have to say it again. I talked over
Yeah.
you a bit.
I
Yeah.
couldn't
It
hear.
gets thin at one end, gets fatter in the middle, and thin again at the other end.
Okay, fine.
You remember that? Oh,
Yeah.
what was it? What was the name of the character? It was John Cleese.
Yeah, it was a Monty Python sketch
It was
where,
Monty Python.
Yeah. where it was like a TV interview show, and he was interviewing this woman with the new theory.
Of the Brontosaurus.
Now you've got me needing to go back into the library and grab
Look
that
that up.
box set. Yeah, I've got the box set, and I just
No,
haven't watched them in a while.
My two favorite skits of Monty Python, though, are I waggled my wig.
Say again?
I waggled my wig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, remember that one? The two gay judges.
No
Yeah,
no spam.
Oh, spam's good. Yeah, spam. And the four Yorkshiremen.
Does anybody remember Confuse the Cat?
Yes,
Yeah,
I reference that one rather a lot.
that's one of my favorites.
Well, of course, we had it tough.
Or it's 1:00. Time for the penguin on your television to explode.
How did he know that was going to happen? He was inspired, yes. And now, number 13.
Where did that penguin
The
come from?
Lodge.
Next door. Penguins don't come from next door. They come from the Antarctic.
So much stuff was so random on that show. It was great.
I don't know. Did they ever script
we tried to
anything?
find the radio scripts that we did when we were doing Behind the Fridge because it was very Python-esque, and we did a whole thing that was called the Grey and Thespian Mardi Gras.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was just it was crazy. We did a joke about this kid forgetting to bring his bottom to school. And we dragged this out for ages just to get to the line that the teacher says at the end, well, go and get one out of the bottom drawer then. That was the whole point of it.
Oh no!
It worked so hard for one
It worked
punchline.
so hard
It's
for
great.
the punchline, yeah.
Yeah, and Diana, they were scripted.
Oh yeah.
And actually, Douglas Adams did a few scripts for the Monty Python crew,
Okay.
Oh, cool.
which
So they got
actually
got some
this
DNA in
explains
there
the Hitchhiker's Guide, that he wrote bits for Monty Python, and after that he went on to edit scripts for Doctor Who,
Yes.
and he took the combination of that, and that's where the Hitchhiker's Guide came from.
So I put a link for the Science Today Brontosaurus thing in chat if anybody wants to.
Oh, you found it.
Yeah,
found
it's
it.
a live done on July 24th.
And of course, everyone knows the parrot sketch.
Yes.
He's not passing. He's not pining. He's passed on. Bereft of life. He rests in peace. This parrot is no more. He fucking snuffed it.
Oh, I don't know who on here watches the YouTube channel Curious and More Curious. But he and his wife had a Monty Python themed wedding.
Oh,
So if you watch his channel, look in the background, and there are a lot of Monty Python references, including a stuffed trout, because apparently their children did the fish slapping dance as part of the ceremony.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
So,
Oh, Lord.
have any of you guys ever seen the show Are You Being Served?
Yes.
Oh yes, I used to watch that a lot.
Miss Slocum and her pussy.
Yes.
My favorite one is the one where she comes in and she's talking about, oh, you're lucky I'm here at all. I had to thaw my pussy this morning. And the gay guy standing next to her, and he just has this like shocked look on his face.
Inman, I think, is his real name.
Yes.
Yeah, John
it is.
Engman.
Yeah, I haven't thought of that show in a few years.
That was a really well put
I
together
think it's
show.
something-
Oh,
If
yeah.
I'm not home exactly at the stroke of 6, my pussy goes crazy.
Oh yeah, the
I'm
characters
like-
played off each other so well.
Or I've got to.
That had a
I'll
good
be
crew.
washing my pussy tonight.
I think, unfortunately, it's been about 20 years since I've seen that one. That
Yeah.
one and the other, putting on appearances, is it?
Keeping
that
up
one's quite well done,
appearances.
too.
Keeping
Yeah.
up appearances.
I feel sorry for Richard.
Sorry.
One of the Britcoms I like that's not seems to not be very well known was My Hero.
I do not know that one.
with
Sounds
what's his
familiar.
name from
Yeah, it was about this guy who was from another planet and was a superhero on Earth, but you never saw him doing the superhero stuff.
yeah.
You'd hear the TV in the background telling about how he saved hundreds of people and things like this, but the whole show focused on him trying to have a normal relationship with his girlfriend while he's being a superhero.
I
All
remember seeing
right.
one.
It
I
had
think
the
there-
guy from Father Ted playing the lead role.
If you want to
the one who
have,
was the younger priest. And
If you-
Father Ted has one of those brilliant moments in
Ted.
it. The whole thing about these ones are small and these ones are far away.
if you want to see some funny stuff about somebody trying to have a normal relationship, kind of, read Man of Steel, Woman of Tissue. Larry Niven, I love you.
Oh yes, I had an anthology that had that in there. What would have happened if Superman and Lois Lane had ever actually
Yes.
had sex?
Well, they obviously do in the comic books. I mean, TV shows.
I particularly remember something in there about him getting overexcited and his member of Steel gutting her like a trout.
Yes.
Of course, there's no reason to assume that he would ejaculate with any more velocity than a human.
Well, in the essay, they did assume that. Also
Yeah,
talked
they
about how the normal barriers to sperm probably would not have been effective. So an
Right.
adolescent Superboy probably would have been conceiving lots of miracles around Smallville.
They totally ignore the fact that different species not going to be able to have kids anyway.
Well,
Mhm.
he mentioned that, but as part of the premise.
Yeah,
When you said Father
and
Ted
why
earlier,
should his
I was thinking of
genitalia be
Father
the
Jack.
same as humans anyway?
Sorry?
What's this, Randolph? You got something to share here?
Sorry, Randall.
Oh yeah. Earlier when you talked about Father Ted, I was thinking of Father Jack.
Yeah.
He seems
Who
to
was
be
the
about
younger
the best representative of Catholic priests, I think. Yeah.
I love you.
Okay, fine. That works.
I love the show. I know it was written by Mr. Glinner, Gary Lynham, but the show is awesome, and I will not condemn the show and the actors who played brilliant roles in it just because an asshat wrote it.
That reminds me of what would happen if Cleese got into a room with unshielded Cobalt 60.
What?
No, huh? It's
Ah.
intense. It's intensely radioactive.
Ah,
Very bad to be close to.
Yes.
okay. Well, just as a point of information, Osman Cometh, rather living up to his name, has given us the fact that humans can ejaculate at 56 miles a second.
That was more information than I needed.
And Superman comes faster than a speeding bullet.
I have no idea how that information will be useful.
I have no idea how anyone ever came up with the motivation to find this out.
All it means is you shouldn't come in a 40 mile an hour zone, or you might get a speeding ticket.
There you go.
Well, if you're going to come, I would hope that the car is parked. Otherwise, it could be rather distracting.
Yes, it could.
Isn't that a plot of a whole movie? Thinner, in case anybody wasn't understanding what I was saying.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That a hilarious personal memory. If anyone's familiar with the Geo Metro,
Oh yeah.
yeah, the tiny car I had. Some of the Harley Davidson bikes actually outweighed that car.
You've got to wonder how they did the study on it, to be quite honest. I mean, what did they do? Did they have guys masturbating in front of one of those boards with the lines on it, like they used to use in Mythbusters, and a high-speed camera that caught the...
So now I'm going to Google that.
Yeah, that's what I would assume. Yeah, that they would have to do it in high-speed photography and just slow it down.
Yeah,
What
measure
came
it.
to my mind, pun intended, are some of the Mythbusters episodes with the lines on the board.
Yeah, that's what I was
That's
thinking.
exactly where I went to.
There are the
Yeah, unfortunately, I got the slightly disturbing image of Adam Savage masturbating in front of the camera.
No, please, no, just no.
Oh, come on, Adam is lovely.
On the subject of weird
Come on,
images,
it'd be worse if you were imagining Jamie Heineman doing
What?
Okay.
We doing it like this or something, or what?
Okay, I'm not
There,
getting
Jen's back.
anything.
Yeah, temporarily
Point to
until it
radar
starts
gun
to
it.
clip again.
Yeah, so
And I can't hear anything.
I have a lot of respect for Adam. He has tweeted out an awful lot of support and verbalized a lot of support online and in interviews for the LGBTQ plus community. I have an awful, and he didn't give a shit what flack he copped from it. So
yeah. He stands up for the causes he believes in. There's no question there.
Yeah.
He is,
He's picking the right
awesome.
ones.
I have a lot of respect for that dude.
Yeah.
And to boot, he
And I would
actually
really
did a
love to
Charmin
meet him.
commercial.
He did
And
a
I
what
knew,
commercial?
Say again?
He did a what commercial?
Charmin, bathroom tissue.
Oh.
He was Mr. Whipplestock boy.
yes, I nearly disowned Meredith when she posted that picture of her with the people at Australian Skepticon, because the guy standing next to her on the little picture on my phone looked like Adam Savage, and I said, if that's Adam Savage, I am never speaking to you again. It wasn't. I could tell that once I zoomed in, but I was like, no, no way, you seeing Adam Savage.
You're already not speaking to me, so who else are you going to not speak to?
I speak to you.
Well, you told me that if I really did hear DC Gillespie,
Yeah, I wasn't going to speak to you again.
Glenn Miller. That's it.
Glenn Miller live. Yeah, you're a bit young to have seen him live.
Yeah, I wasn't born yet.
Well, we would continue speaking to you in calm, soft voices as we drive you to the institute.
Yeah, Miller kicked the bucket 14 years before I was born.
Oh,
Oh.
there's so many great people who would be nice to meet if you had
Oh,
if you
yeah.
had a time machine. Although I suspect that the actual act of meeting some of these people will be very, very disappointing.
I have to wonder, were I able to meet him, what would I think of Wolfgang Mozart?
Yeah, he
Uh,
was by all accounts, he was a bit of an ass. So
Yeah.
Now, see, I
very
go
talented
the other
man,
way.
but-
Probably be best to meet him at a party.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, he might be the fun of the party. Yeah.
I go the other way because one of my greatest historical heroes is Ben Franklin. And
Oh,
he's a
jeez.
hell of a lot more interesting if you know the parts the history books leave out.
Yes, yes.
He was a horrendous lech well into his 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he was a vampire slayer, wasn't he?
No, that was Abe Lincoln.
Abraham
Oh,
Lincoln.
that was Abe Lincoln. That's right. Sorry.
I've got a Lego minifig of Lincoln as a vampire slayer.
Oh wow.
I really wish that they would do more of those alternate history books and alternate classics. You know, because there's Little Women and Werewolves, Pride and
What?
Prejudice
There's what?
and Zombies. There's another one that has to do with sea monsters, but I can't remember.
I'm not familiar with this series.
Oh yeah, they take like they said Little Women, and they put it into a world where werewolves are a thing, and they frame and it or Pride and Prejudice. They take that world and that story and they place it into a
Zombie.
world where there's zombies everywhere. So
Well,
everybody's
they
like a
did the
trained.
same thing with Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, they did. I did not know that one.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was called now, but yeah, it's a
Oh.
Romeo and Juliet in the zombie world.
And wasn't Abe Lincoln the only U.S. president to be assassinated by a Klingon?
Oh, and then they
No, but there were-
Sense and Sensibility, and Sea Monsters.
I do know that Abraham Lincoln does get quoted on the internet a lot for saying that you can't believe everything you read on the internet.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Okay. That's kind of a mashup of Will Rogers and what else?
Rogers Willie. Sorry.
Okay, that works. I like it.
Yeah, just sharing something that came up with the mention of odd images. I just remembered when I was taking a brief nap before this, I just had YouTube running randomly in a playlist, so I don't know what was playing that might have inspired this, but of course thinking about Aaron Ra. And
He had a wet dream about Aaron Ra.
yeah, I had the stream of Aaron Ra as Santa Claus giving out telescopes and microscopes and science instruments to all these skeptical children.
I like it.
That's fantastic, actually.
Got to talk him into doing something like that.
Oh, he'd probably love it.
Oh, absolutely.
He could do biker Santa.
Of course, the fun thing is, you talk about doing the Santa Claus thing at the local Squall Mart across the highway. One of the cashiers could very easily be Santa Claus. Looks just like the character without even trying.
Huh. That's interesting.
So I really haven't needled him as much about it as I'd like to. I'll have to get around to it. He probably hears it all the time
So
anyway.
that cashier, so I guess that means that cashier looks more normal than a lot of the patrons.
Pretty much, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
We
wow.
used to have a guy in this town that everybody just called him Santa. I don't even know what his real name was. He died like 10, 15 years ago. But yeah, he had the hair and the beard and the belly, and he just looked like Santa Claus all the time, no matter how he was dressed.
Oh man, I should ask him if I could take a picture of him and then put it up there. The hair is a little thinner than one might expect of the Santa Claus character. Other than that, spitting image. I'd be amazed if it turned out he spoke Dutch. Little miracle on 34th Street for you right there.
Yeah. But something else from Randolph.
Speaking of Walmart,
Yes, dear.
since the power of prayer didn't work to regain his mobility, Jesus Christ resorted to science. Now he can finally get himself to the store to buy some new threads at fantastic low prices. That's right. That's right.
Beautiful.
Jesus Christ needs to save money too because he just doesn't earn enough coin working as a carpenter.
Oh, jeez, I'm loving every minute of
That's
it.
that's the Walmart picture from South Park.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, my.
So with Aaron Raw, I guess
Yes,
I
sir.
don't know. Maybe I missed it if you already discussed it, but that's. It seems he's leaving. He's decided to leave the conference that the anti-theism conference, right?
Right, he's withdrawn.
Okay, but I think I saw something about he had been talking about that before the incident with Lance came up, threatening to harass David Worley.
Okay, I did not know he had said anything about that before the David Worley interview.
Yeah, but I guess that must have really tipped the scales. And okay, for sure. So yeah, I guess you've all seen the video of the interview with Lance with David Worley.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, have I ever? Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's just wow.
Well, Lance just totally went off the deep end, in addition to everything else.
Okay, Jen has dropped down into the side chat. She's saying that it's being too clippy and she can't keep up with
Yeah.
the stream.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's too
Yeah.
bad.
So-
I think on top of everything else, one of the things that really annoyed me was the part where he goes where Lance is like, look at you, look at me, we don't blah blah, like trying to compare the two of them, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, David's nothing like you, Lance.
Yeah, well, and just seeing how clearly uncomfortable David was getting
Wow,
because
yes.
he was trying to equate him.
And I think David, the way he responded to everything was professional all the way through. He did it great.
Oh, very much.
Yeah,
Much
absolutely.
more professional than I would have been. At some point, it would have been like, you know what, fuck you, click.
Yeah, well, you know what I can be like. Yeah, I probably would have called him a few explanatives.
Well, I mean, there's the thing when you're doing a show like that. Unless you're Steven Crowder, you have to be professional about it. It kind of comes with the territory, and it's not easy. Most of the time, it's not easy to maintain that professional air.
I do think some people deserve the explanatives, though.
Well, yeah, granted. But the thing is that, for the sake of your audience, for the sake of your show, that sort of thing, do you do that? It is a question.
What saddens me a lot about this too is that these conferences are kind of rare still. We don't have a huge number of them going on. So when the organizers mess up like this, it's really it actually is really bad for I guess the atheism and anti-theism and agnostic community at large, because that's one less event that people are interested in going to, and I think it's quite a big task to get people out to these things.
And I'd love to poke the local free thought group into getting something going out here. It would actually be easy for me to get there. I mean, I'm all selfish about it. I admit it. But as you say, there are so few of the conferences that another one is a great idea as long as we can get audiences or attendees to them.
Yeah, Diana, you say you're
problem,
being
though, isn't
selfish. Since the very first Faithless Forum, launched, I've been trying to get them to do a Faithless Forum North.
Okay.
You know, that I trying to tell them that they should put it like in Milwaukee or Minneapolis, someplace
Well,
that's an easy day's drive for me.
I
Well-
actually don't see why they shouldn't be more central or a bit further north, because a lot of the people who go to it are from Canada. See,
So I'm
Yeah, well, it's down there because that's where all the people that organize it are.
Yeah.
That's the thing
so-
I said to somebody, because apparently Adam the Atheist just moved to Austin too, and I was like, so if you want to be a YouTuber, you move to LA. If you want to be an atheist YouTuber, you move to Austin.
Right.
Apparently,
Right.
because like
Right.
everybody's there, almost.
well. I have an interest in running a conference here, and I have a general idea of what's required to run it, because many years ago I was involved in a computer fair association that
Oh. Okay.
we ran an annual event that brought usually thousands of people in, and so I was on the board of directors on that. It was a good event. The people who were all involved in running it ran it well. So I did my part, and the other directors did their part, and we worked together on things that required multiple people to work on, which was a lot of it. So there is quite a lot of work to putting it together. So it really does make sense that whoever's organizing it is going to do it in their area, because they can look after things a lot more effectively. It is something that I'm interested in doing. I'd like to set up a conference here in British Columbia, Canada, Greater Vancouver area is where I do it, because that's a place that people are going to recognize from all over the world. The different thing for me would be that I have a good idea on how to market things locally in older times with printed publications, where I would need to first of all, we need to get funding for it, and the other thing is we'd need to get somebody involved who understands how to market internationally on it in these more current times, of course. So those are the kinds of challenges. Having security and everything all sorted out is not a problem. I know what to do there and to make things run properly. And you print on the back of the ticket some basic rules of conduct and things like that, just to keep it very simple and straightforward. And then you just make sure everything is run well. It takes a lot of time to organize, and then getting speakers lined up is hard too.
Well, there's this guy in Neil's group that runs an atheist resource webpage you really should get in touch with.
Yeah, that would be me.
As I say, I'd love to get in on something like this. The thing is that my experience in running things like this is stale as well, about 40 years stale. My ex-wife and I used to run the Mensa conventions in Cleveland. And there's enough that you can remember from that sort of thing to get started. But as you say, there's a lot of publicity and everything that's changed a great deal in this electronic age that I am nowhere near qualified to do anything as I'm sitting here right now.
Well, the physical event stuff really hasn't changed.
Yeah, that's the good thing, and that's where I shone.
Yeah. You gotta have the funding to make sure you've got insurance and all this other kind of stuff. And
that's the other thing, is getting that starting funding. Once you get it started, once you make that first one or two of them good enough that you get the continuing money in, and it's now self-supporting, it's a lot easier. But those first couple shows, those first couple conferences, oh my God, they're horrible.
Yeah, and having the lowest possible price for admission is very important. So instead of hundreds, I'd like it to be $10 or $15 or something, because that can help to pay for everything if we can get enough people in, right? So you can have more people, each paying a little bit less, or as much less as possible. You get more people, and then what happens is there's more people remembering it, so that the next time around you can do it again and hopefully get more people and more people. So
yeah.
Well,
what was the one that JT Eberhard ran? Do it on that model. Make them free. I know it's not the easiest thing in the world, but
the funding's there. It'd be great to do it free, but I wonder how many people will show up then, because a lot of the time these events, if it's free, people just won't go. But if it's $5, they'll go. It's
Yes.
a funny thing.
The man has a point. The man has a point.
Yeah, it is human psychology. People don't value anything they get for free.
Yeah.
So even if you can do it for free, you're better off charging a nominal fee.
Yeah, a $5 fee is fine, and anybody can afford it. And then somebody shows up at the door and can't pay, that's fine. Come on in, we'll let you in. It's fine.
Yep.
So
I don't know. I just might have to get on the horn with Prebeg and see if we can't do something. The man to whom I refer is I forget what seat he has with American Atheists here in Pennsylvania. I think it's a regional coordinator or something like that.
yeah,
If he would be willing, and he knew a few other people who could get in on this, I'd love to be part of getting something started here. I really would.
yeah.
So, okay. Not only am I going to have to call him and ask him if he has the time to look in on Sylvia every few days, I'll have to ask if he's interested in starting a con here. There we are.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
great.
I've been involved in the starting of a couple of conventions. I've never been a central figure, just, give me specific jobs.
Yeah, because
But,
we haven't had anything in this general area since MasterCon came to Pittsburgh. That was a number of years ago. I think that was at least 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, and Hamilble's saying in the side chat about, that they should organize something around Lansing, Michigan, because there seem to be a lot of atheists around the area, but nobody's organizing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's you really need one person who, has the organization skills and has the determination to make it happen.
You need a
And
team.
has
You
the
need a
reach.
team.
Yes, absolutely, Randall. Absolutely.
need
No
a team
one
of
person
people.
can do it.
Yeah, you need a team of people. You need a facility. You need a team of people. You need funding. And the team needs to include people who can look after certain things and be reliable at it. And and so finding reliable team members is not always easy.
Tell me
And
about
also
it.
team members that can work together, because
Yeah.
sometimes you just get personality conflicts and
What do you
the
mean
whole thing can
sometimes?
disintegrate.
Strong leadership is important there. Yeah. And the
I have-
problem is I find a lot of these things, a lot of organizations are run in a way that unfortunately there's a lack of strong leadership when it comes to shutting down things like gossip and petty fights. And that's a disaster in the making. We see it in commercial environments too, just with employers that are just not good at it. And then I've seen a few who they take care of stuff right away, and they say, "Oh, okay, let's get this sorted out." You have a private meeting with the people who aren't getting along. You try to do some problem solving, and you find a solution the best you can. And that you can't. There's no standard way to deal with it. It's always going to be a custom solution. But and sometimes you just somebody's got to go. That's the way it is. And hopefully you can find a way to get around that without having to do that.
Right.
Yeah,
You got
and
me
so if the
thinking
leadership
here.
is strong and puts a stop to politics, then you'll get very little of it.
Mhm.
But as soon as you got micromanagement, or you got somebody who's putting pressure on people instead of actually genuinely solving the problems, the dysfunction only grows.
Yeah.
I've seen it so many times over the years. I worked at companies where it was really bad in a couple of them, and I didn't like it. There was one where somebody was vandalizing the washrooms. They were so mad at other people, and nobody ever figured out who it was. So,
That's a bit petty, isn't it?
there were about 300 people at that company, and I did wonder if it might be a couple of people working together on that one. But they even at one time wrote some profanities on the wall, "F off and die" in blood. And I remember the janitor.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember the janitor came in after hours, and he thought somebody was mad at him. But then, no, actually, somebody was pointing out to him that no, it was actually they're probably mad at management because they probably don't even know you come here to clean. They don't even know who you are. That made him feel better, apparently. But yeah, there's funny things going on at that company, and it was I was glad to get out of there when I did. The next company was a lot better, but a lot smaller too. But that one, the next company had management who they put a stop to any of that nonsense right away. So we didn't really have any problems
You
politics
say
wise.
they wrote it in blood, so was it the men's or women's toilet?
Oh, it was all the men's room.
All right. So, okay, I feel a bit better about that now.
And I remember
Was
that
it
I know where
actual
you're
blood?
headed.
Yeah, well, I was wondering. I mean, so where was the blood coming from?
yeah, you know.
I'm wondering which kind of disturb this was, and
I'm going to hope it was somebody who worked in the cafeteria that was just using animal blood.
I have no idea. They were also plugging up the sinks and the toilets with the excess toilet paper and letting the sinks run, and just it was
sounds
really,
like they were fairly young.
well.
Yeah.
It's about 300 people working there.
Actually,
There was about 300 people working there, so it was, there was a engineering and sales, and then there was also manufacturing, all in one building. So nobody really knew who it was.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's making more work for the janitor, and it's not doing anything to the people that they're really upset with.
Well, the janitor reports it to the management all the time, so the management got upset about it and started talking about putting video cameras in the washrooms, and then a whole bunch of employees got mad about that and said, well, you can't do that, that's illegal, and so, of course, that didn't happen, which is good, because we have privacy laws here in Canada that forbid that, specifically, actually.
Yeah. Well, that is one thing in the U.S. that they have managed to uphold, because they've talked about putting cameras like in changing rooms for stores to guard against shoplifting, and
they do that here. But they have a sign up telling you that that's there, and there's a special exemption for it, and there's special auditing requirements and whatnot that go along with that. So,
now the question becomes: how many exhibitionists read those signs and then fap off in the changing room just because there's a camera there?
Yeah, they get arrested if they do that.
Okay, when you started with that line, how many exhibitionists, I thought you were going to tell a joke.
It was funny. So, but so this, what is your feeling on what's going to happen with that anti-theism event? Like, I'm concerned, of course, about an event getting shut down, but at the same time, if the organizers are bad, then that's something needs to be dealt with.
Well, you know that the primary organizer messaged or posted something on Hemet Meta's blog, and it wasn't much better
he basically ended up defending the Predator.
Oh, okay.
So, despite actually kicking him out of the group, he then went on to defend him.
That's a leadership problem then. So he's the top organizer?
Yeah, Robert something.
Okay.
He basically commented something like demanding a right of reply or some weirdness like that. I mean, I'm trying to find it.
Doesn't matter if he's defending Lance's attitude of threatening to sexually harass David after giving him a place in the corner. Just like there's no defense for that. The correct response is to disassociate with that guy and make a public announcement that he's no longer working with us, and we're continuing with this event, and we've recently reviewed some of our policies, and here are the new policies. Please take a look and make sure that policies are set to specifically protect against stuff like that. That's all they have to do.
I put a link
that would be
in
the correct
chat.
Professional way to handle it.
I put a link in the chat. It's the article written by Hemet Meta. The very first reply is the other organizer, and the name is John Richards.
And he makes another reply later on that's worse.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It has raised some what I feel are very valid questions about if people attending the convention can feel safe, and if they believe anything would be done if a situation arose. If the event organizers would take it seriously if some kind of situation happened.
In his later comment, he says something along the lines of, this is an atheist convention. It doesn't matter what anybody has done sexually, and it shouldn't matter, and we shouldn't worry about those sort of things, and we shouldn't be talking about them.
Well, it matters if it was done without somebody's consent.
Exactly. So I mean, that's the point here. Is he's trying to wash it all away, and more or less apologize for it. You know, virtual rape. I won't call it rape apology because
Yeah.
no actual rape has happened here, but he mentions Lawrence Krauss in it, and how none of this should even matter because of what we are. And yeah, I can't remember the exact context of it, but yeah, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
It
Well,
wasn't a great take to take. I mean, in all honesty, he'd removed Lance from the organizational committee. That should have been where he stopped. You don't then go on and defend the guy that you've just gotten rid of. That's a mixed signal. That is.
yeah, very much.
So I'm reading a little bit of the text here. It's saying that his former business partner, Lance, got a little drunk and had a train wreck of a podcast interview, which had some fallout on the Pathos website. Some comments have interpreted his attitude as misogynistic, so he's been fired for that, which is really not the right reason for firing. He no longer holds a position in the organization. Okay, so that seems good, but let's see. And he's seeking an interview on the same podcast. So, yeah, that'll be up to David whether or not he wants to do that, right? So,
Yeah, I don't think David's prepared to platform him again.
yeah, so consequently, is not prepared to be intimidated by a few who have a singular focus, particular as improved female safety as a policy that support. International convention goes ahead as planned. We already have attendees signed up from the Netherlands, all these different places. Okay, so yeah, he's kind of going on a little bit. Please let me know. Yeah, I'm not seeing really too much defensiveness there. But interesting is he's Aaron Raw and Mariam Namazi have both decided to pull out of the event.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to see the part where he's being defensive.
Well, he goes on down, and there's a couple of replies. Like if you just search his name, so they highlighted his reply. It's actually farther down, but if you just search John Richards, you'll find his other replies. It's probably good. It would probably take.
Oh, it's in the comments.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go all the way to the bottom before you hit the comments, there's a blue block of text, and that's his primary reply.
A blue block of text. Okay, I'm looking here. Go ahead, argue with me if you think this is not virtuous. I'm available for interview. Oh boy, that's kind of a strange thing to put there. That's kind of
It seems like. So I remember in 2016 there was some big hullabaloo with the Reason Rally in the United States and their code of conduct.
okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember that, Diana?
Yes, I do.
I was only vaguely aware of it because I didn't find out about the Reason Rally until just before it was going to start, and I wasn't planning on going.
Yeah, there was the whole what thou
Yeah,
shalt and shalt not do. Yeah.
His whole bit about I recognize that social media has enabled a sudden change in attitude towards what should be considered acceptable sexual behavior. Today, I understand that older men are having difficulty adjusting to the new standards. Especially as these standards seem to be applicable retrospectively. No, the actual standards we're talking about on here are actual abuse and threats of abuse. And they were the standards anyway, just because people were more likely to push them earlier because they were less likely to get reported for it, doesn't mean those standards weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he's basically trying to say he's older, give him some leeway. And
well,
I'm of the opinion, no.
Yeah, no, he's not making an apology. He's making excuses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a little drunk. Yeah, that should be left for Lance to explain, really.
Yeah.
But it just seems to be this thing where, like, the whole thing with the not I almost said Faithless Forum, with the reason rally was people seem to rally against this idea of having a code of conduct when this is exactly why you need to have a code of conduct.
Yeah.
Or
I
just some
agree
basic
entirely,
rules.
Kitty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, for an event, you need to have some basic rules set out, and you can have policies, and then you make sure everybody knows what those policies are before they come in, and that's where you put it on the ticket or itinerary or whatever it is they have.
And then, of course, you have a consistent means of enforcement, and as fair as you can get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think that after watching that video on David's channel, that Lance would probably do well with some psychotherapy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, were I in a position to, I don't be Lance's superior or co-person or whatever it is,
Mhm.
I'd have got him the heck off the board or whatever it is, simply for showing up on a program like that, three sheets to the wind. That's not good for public image of the organization.
Yeah.
It'd be different if Lance had just been there representing himself, but he was actually there representing the
Bingo.
conference.
Bingo.
So
Yeah.
his behavior was not good even in that sense, let alone the words that came out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's just totally. I was not expecting that at all at the interview. Just yeah, it totally went sideways there.
Yeah.
And the expression on David's face, it was like, "Oh Lord," it's like, "What am I getting into now?"
Yeah.
But it wasn't even. David didn't even actually question him into that corner. He put himself
Right.
there himself.
Yeah.
There was no
Absolutely.
pressure to make him say things to incriminate himself. He did it all on his own.
David asked fair questions.
Yeah.
He interviewed me, number 42. It's kind of cool. He picked that number for me because I told him I like the number 42. But he asks straightforward questions, and I find it's quite a nice interview. And he'll ask. It was strange, Lance's point about he's not asking challenging questions, and I thought, really, that wasn't my experience. He asked me some questions I had to think about, and I quite liked it. I thought it was good.
Mhm.
So
I think it really depends on the person, but like, I just love how it's like, you're not asking challenging questions. Asks a challenging question, melts into a puddle.
On the other side of that, if your guest is actually giving all the information freely without you having to ask those questions, why do you ask them?
yeah, if it's interesting content, well, it was certainly interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting.
I put out a tweet just recently where I was saying, like, I've thought, oh, it would be interesting to go on to one of those atheist interview shows, and then as soon as I think it, I'm like, no, it wouldn't. You're boring as fuck. Oh right, I am.
Go on it. I went on.
Yeah, but you actually produce content.
Yeah, so you're still interesting, Kitty.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Kitty,
enjoy.
it kind of depends who's running the interview, and maybe you need someone who, prods you a little bit and asks you more questions.
Yeah,
That you don't go on your own so much.
Yeah, that's my thing. It's like I need to
Hold
have
your hand up
prompts.
to Neil.
Yeah, I was going to say that if you got on Neil or Bub's show, I think you'd do fine.
Hmm.
Although Neil hasn't got anything until mid-February now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. I remember a couple, maybe 2 months ago, where he was like, "I need people for such and such a day," and I thought about messaging him and being like, "Hey, if you ever need a random person on Wednesday, I could go on and you could grill me," but I never did it. And now it's like he's like blown up and he's busy till February.
Neil
I,
goes through waves like that he has
Mhm.
periods that he's booking 2 months in advance.
Mhm.
And then now and then he hits a dry spell and he's scrambling to get someone for next week.
Yeah, it's hard finding guests, I think, on a regular basis like that. It can
When
be
he
Well-
first threw me his January schedule,
Yeah.
I had full choice of it. So I picked a day that suited me, and then he contacted me a couple of days ago and said, I messed up. That's the one day I can't actually do. And I'm like, oh, great. He goes, now you pick a new time. And I go, we have a problem because I'm going away at the end of January. And from the start of February, I'm doing morning drop-offs for my niece for school. And I'm not going to be able to do your show.
Yeah.
So I penciled in a date, and I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to do it.
Neil's
Well,
cool. I remember he managed to get me on his show, even though I don't have a deconversion story. So we did it was a surprise guest on April 1st, and he was the surprise guest. I interviewed him.
Yep.
Okay.
And
was fun.
Kitty, you could drop Neil a DM, and just say that, maybe if he has a guest cancel and needs someone in a
He
pinch
already
that you could
knows.
fill in.
Yeah, no, he already knows.
Doorknob Head saying in the comments, purple stream, it's like movie night, but better, no movie.
So yeah, no, Neil already knows it's difficult for me. We had the whole discussion in DM, and yeah, we're just gonna play it by ear and see what happens. Hopefully, I can still do the date, but I actually don't know.
Yep.
So
Yeah, Neil
it's
had
like-
me on his show, I think it was close to a year ago now. But yeah, I didn't really have a deconversion story either, so we just kind of, rambled about some other experiences.
Well, I like the way he took my show because I didn't have much of a deconversion story because I deconverted so young. We ended up talking about my transness.
Yep.
And how that fit into the stream of life and everything else. So that was
at least I have a deconversion story. So
okay. I'm
although,
an expert.
considering I ended up talking about it on David's show, oddly enough.
So, Diana, that message you just sent to the group, it cut off in such a way that it looked like you were trying to say, instead of saying what you said, it looked like you were starting to say, I'm trying to get high.
Oops.
Well, you are, aren't you, Diana?
Let's go get stoned. Let's go get stoned. Come on, Ray. Anyway. Oh, jeez. Yeah,
Are you suggesting Ray Comfort should get stoned?
No, Ray Charles.
I think Ray Comfort stoned would be good.
Oh, jeez, I'd like to stone Ray Comfort. Okay, just go from there. Oh man, but I'll tell you
This
most
is
amazing,
the banana. Oh wow, I got the munchies.
Speaking of getting stoned,
the most amazing film I have seen in a very, very long time before, since, et cetera, was when Kate took on Cy Ten Bruggen Kate in person. Bionic Dance, Kate Clark took on Cy Ten Bruggen Kate in person.
What did she do?
Links, please.
He was on a soapbox in Balboa Park. Yeah, he actually turned the mic off. She had it at the rights. I gotta find this.
Oh, she actually did a video of it.
Yeah,
Oh wow, I haven't seen it. How have I not seen this?
it's a while ago that she posted this.
Might be why I haven't seen it.
Let's see. Bionic Dance.
I love Kate. She's awesome.
You love Kate.
Yeah, no, okay. I don't love Kate the way you love Kate, but
Bionic Dance, right?
I only could
Yeah,
wish.
okay.
I know it's not going anywhere, but
Yeah, she's fantastic.
no, she is.
I like her videos.
very much under-respected.
There we are. I have it. Let me.
I like that she's got this science fiction theme stuff mixed in with it all. It's great. All that animation. Yeah. She's got a nice presentation style.
Over in the side chat is coming a link. This is the film that I'm talking about. As soon as it shows up,
shouldn't have
it has
clicked
it
on that.
already. Oh, excuse me.
Go off.
Yeah, she had him dead to rights. I
Did
wish it
you?
could have been
Oh,
there.
you did put a link in there. Okay, I'm gonna put
Yes, I
that on
did.
my list.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I did see this one. I wasn't sure which one you were referring to, but yeah.
I'll have to watch it later.
I just saw
Oh,
one
it's worth to
recently.
watch. It definitely is. This is the thing. I know I'm biased. I mean that's obvious, but I personally don't think that Kate gets enough exposure or respect given her stature. I mean, she's
Yeah.
been doing what she's been doing for over a decade, and she's been doing a damn good job of
Yeah.
it. And she falls between the cracks. What is this?
Well,
I mean,
she does a good job of it, but she does come across as being kind of coarse, and that does,
well, yeah, she
keep
does.
some people away.
I've
She's
been
one
I
of
on the
the.
was,
receiving end of some of that.
But
to be perfectly honest, I was scared of her.
And I
come
can
across as
understand
She
kind
that.
of
was,
coarse, but I
she
don't
was,
scare people away.
she was at Faithless Forum, and I was really nervous. I was like, she's intimidating, but
Yeah.
she was actually really nice. We stood in the lobby of the hotel after the event was over and talked about random stuff I can't even remember right now. But
No,
it was,
she is a lovely person, Kate.
She's one of
I
the
mean, yes,
early. She's one of the early YouTube producers doing atheism videos,
yes,
yeah.
and
And
Kitty,
that's worth some recognition right there.
mhm.
Because
yep,
she's still at it.
and
Well, yeah,
Kitty,
just that she's been at it continuously for over 10 years.
Yeah, that's an accomplishment.
mhm,
That
she's
deserves
one of the very
notoriety.
few.
And I think that's actually part of a little bit of the problem. Um, is that she's been at it so long that sometimes she might be getting chucked in with that old group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there was a
Mm.
there was a comment recently made on one of GM Skeptic's threads, and the guy was like, or the girl, I can't remember, said, "Oh, I'm so glad to see the atheist community embracing the LGBTQ community. I don't see that very often." And I was like,
Oh,
I'm like, "Who
Really?
are you watching?" And he's like, "Oh, the old ones like Jacqueline Glenn and TAA, the Amazing Atheist."
Hmm.
And then of course one of the comments that was made was like, "Yeah, all the pre 2016 atheist YouTubers were kind of shit." And
Does that include Dark Matter 2525?
see, that's what I'm saying. Like the
mhm.
general statement was kind of like a little bit yikesy. I'm like, there's a lot of them from
Yeah.
that time that are still pretty good.
And I
Yeah,
mean, John
Yeah.
is
a
one
lot
of
of them
the
are.
excellent people from way back when. I almost fainted when he stated that he was going to be doing his last cartoon, but at least he's reconsidered.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I'm
talking
I'm
with a lawyer would
hoping
help that.
I'm hoping that YouTube will do something to provide some kind of protection here because this is ridiculous. It's censorship. It looks like.
Well, YouTube will do
Well,
something. The problem is that it won't be anything that helps.
Well,
I hope them.
I hope that YouTube is that Google is smarter than that and actually can figure something out to try to maybe. Well, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They don't do stupid things like some of the other big companies do. But yeah, I guess there's always problems. People can always find complaints.
Well, Jeff and
Well, I think their problem right now is that they're working so much with, the big corporate accounts that
Um,
they've gotten the idea that the small creators are more trouble than they're worth.
hmm
but
Well,
it's the
that was
small creators
Jeff's point.
but it's this massive amount of small creators that is the reason they're so successful with YouTube.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think that's the mistake where they could shoot themselves in the foot. That if they
They
make
did.
it too hard for small channels to grow,
Yeah.
they're going to then realize that the small channels are what were drawing new people to the site.
Actually, I think that shutting down Google Plus was a huge error on their part. They really shot themselves in the foot and have taken away a lot of their brand name recognition because there were I remember there's joke communities in there with 2 or 3 million people, and
Yeah.
there were I remember looking up Madonna one time just to see how many followers she had, how many people in her circles. They're kind of like followers. and there are over 8 million. And then there's some photography communities that had tens of millions of people in them.
Oh yeah,
And
I was in a couple of hobby groups in there.
yeah, so you remember some of them were quite big and busy, and it was quite well organized. The system, it's
Well,
better. It was better set up than the other social networks have. Like Facebook's interface is horrific. Twitter's is just way too basic, and Google Plus had a real nice balance with these things, and they really attracted a lot of the technical crowd. And I think they basically threw that asset in the garbage when they really should not have, because they really hurt themselves by doing that. As I understand, there was a bunch of internal politics behind the reason why Google Plus got shut down, but I can't confirm it. So it's basically it's just rumor, but it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I think maybe Google's got the wrong idea here, and I'm hoping that they're working on some kind of strategy to deal with the FTC and get this stuff straightened out. But maybe, and I'm hoping that maybe the reason nobody's really heard anything from them is because they're kind of doing it on the quiet, because they need to make sure the strategy works. And if they're publicizing it, it's not going to be so successful. I don't know. That's what I'm hoping for. It's called wishful thinking, but
well, one of the reasons you're talking to me and I'm talking to you today is Google Plus, because McRae invited me into the Great Debate Community, Google Plus, whatever it was. That's where I met Surus, and got to know a few other people, and that wasn't the only thing that got me around, but it was one of the things. And had that not been there, I might not be here right now.
Yeah.
Hey, Mikey, sweetie, yay!
Hello. Again.
Hey.
You there?
Long time no see, buddy.
Yeah.
Unmuting.
Hey.
I'm eating fried rice, so I'm being quiet.
Look, guys.
Hans,
Sour pork. Sweet and sour pork. I can't talk.
Park, yay, I like it.
Hans mentioned in the side chat a simple solution would be for YouTube to stop using tracking ads. I don't see that happening because, unfortunately, the targeted ads are much more profitable for them than just regular advertising. That's what the advertisers want to pay for these days. They want the ads to be targeted at specific demographics. They don't just want to throw them out there and hope for the best.
I don't have a problem with the ads, but I think some people get more concerned about the stuff than they should be. I work in computer security. Now, there are things going on that can be quite intrusive with all the tracking, but the thing is, when you go on the internet, the server you're communicating with has to have your IP address, and otherwise they can't send information back to you. It's just not possible. But and then when they start tracking that and trying to profile you, that's a problem, and that I understand is something that does need to be controlled. And this is the problem here is it's capitalism, and capitalism doesn't work well with regulation. The more regulation is, the worse capitalism is off. So you've got two forces here, one for our privacy rights and one for capitalism. I'm on the side of the privacy, of course, but if we don't have any ads at all, and then these services can go away as well.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that really pisses me off about
Double-edged sword,
as someone near and dear to my heart also said, okay, I buy a camera. For the next 2.5 months, I am deluged with 500,000 ads trying to sell me cameras. I already bought one. I have all I need. Why are you trying to sell me more? Okay? And I mean, that's just something that burns my arse. We're at underwear. Okay, I always need underwear. That's not a problem here. But it's the big thing, they're trying to sell me stuff I already have, I just got, and it's like, come on, guys, can't you do better?
Okay, Mikey, did you have your hand up there?
Yeah. So, okay, you just bought a camera, and you don't want to watch camera ads.
Yeah.
Well, if that's
for
the
a
case,
while anyway.
Well, if that's the case going forward, I'm going to charge you 10% more on your camera because the advertising money that I spent is not working. That's what's weird about advertising money. If it doesn't produce any result, then they either put 500% more or they cut it all together. So either you'll never hear from that product again, or it will be everywhere until you buy it.
And that is an excellent example of how capitalism is inefficient.
You have to either double down or back away completely because it's not worth it.
If they had some sort of algorithm with, okay, I just bought a camera, maybe I could use lighting or something like that and throw those ads at me. That's fine. That's efficient.
Yeah, they should be trying to sell you accessories for what you already bought.
You know how you can make that happen is you go onto these search engines and you start typing in all those accessories and the word price, and you watch, those ads will change. Or put in cat food pricing and watch the ads for cat food will come up. Yeah.
They have no idea what to fucking sell me on. They've been selling me fucking telescopes, skater shoes, and fucking Ethernet codes for like 6 months. They have no idea what to fucking sell me anymore.
Talk about cat food price.
Hi, Faye.
Purple.
If anyone's still hot in purple, I've got to get going because I've got another stream in a little bit. So.
Okay.
Bye,
Sorry.
Jen.
Okay, bye, Jens. We'll catch you later.
Love
Take
you.
care, dear.
Bye.
My
But
boyfriend
purple.
was sticking a ferret in my face.
Oh, no.
Oh,
At least
okay,
it
that's
was your
wonderful.
face.
What?
My pet
Sylvia
ferret.
Sylvia is still eating that bag of cat food you had me buy in July.
Well, I was guessing it was going to last her about 6 months.
But
I
the
think
key
I'll buy
is,
the next size down.
now if you want those ads to move more quickly to a different set of ads, you need to actually click on them. So what I would recommend is click on the ads for the companies that you dislike, because then it costs them. But it doesn't cost their competitors. And then you're doing a favor to their competitors who you have no complaints about.
Yeah, and well, that's like the biggest problem I have with the YouTube logarithm.
You're loving this.
Yeah,
See, I think you should be able to go into Google and say, like you Googled cameras and now you're getting camera ads and you've already bought one. You should be able to Google, I purchased a camera, and it'll turn off all the camera ads.
yeah.
I mean, at least on Facebook. Facebook does a lot of those ads. You can go in there and you can tweak your targeted ad stuff and remove things.
I'm
Actually,
an
there's
influencer on
another-
Facebook, so
There's another way you can do it with Google, by the way. You can go in, there's a little preferences button up at the top when you're doing the searches, and you can go in there and you can tell it that you just want to see generic ads that are not customized to your usage.
Oh, I'm going to have to look for that and
Yeah.
see if it
Yeah.
makes any difference.
That's probably the best way. And then you'll get random ads.
Oh, boy, ads for random. I like that.
More random,
So there
yeah.
would be a lot of creationist companies on that, right? Trying to sell me random shit. Because that's how they think that's how they think I think.
I think they'll do some regional stuff then, but yeah.
Regional stuff. Yeah.
So Randolph, I probably should have called you weeks ago to talk about how, when Zuckerberg testified in front of Congress.
Well, that was an interesting interview. Wow, those politicians sure asked a lot of stupid questions.
That is exactly what I was going to say. Like, a lot of them had no idea how internet marketing worked, how Facebook makes its money,
Yep.
how what you agree and don't agree to. Like, and then like, so this is where I'll go with my question towards you specifically.
Oh, okay.
Like 3 or 4 different senators jumped on Zuckerberg about redlining on
Sorry?
Facebook.
About what?
Redlining.
Red mining. I missed that one.
Okay, so redlining was a practice in the States where they would, like if you think of a map of, let's say, Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And it's got section here, section here, section here, section here. It's in the quadrants, just to make it easy math. If I know sections 1 and 3 are affluent and white, I'll put my ads there. But 2 and 4 are Latino and black. I won't put ads there. Redlining is that as a producer, I don't advertise to these places, or as a business owner, I don't promote to these places, or as a congressperson, I want my district to be in these places. I want to avoid certain places, and then maybe I need to make like
demographics. Yeah, demographic targeting. Yeah,
correct. 3 or 4 different Congress people accused Facebook of these things when the first person asked him, and he said, well, we don't know how many people are black. Well, other people have found out shit. It's like, that's not a metric that we ask for. And we don't ask your race when you subscribe to Facebook.
When I had a Facebook account, yeah, they didn't ask me any of that kind of stuff either.
Till this day, there's not a, what is your ethnicity, nationality, whatever. That's not an option to click. Yet they accused Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook of redlining certain groups of people and disenfranchising certain people with their platform.
Yeah.
Because, you can have targeted ads to so-and-so and so-and-so. It's like, yeah, I'm a gamer. I'm a streamer. I'm not pushing myself to like 80 plus Facebook users. I'd like to unselect them to save my ad dollars.
Yeah, and that's a normal thing that happens with the advertising. I can advertise to Detroit. I can advertise to Vancouver.
Correct.
It's up to me, because if I figure that I want to target a certain age range, then that's very nice if I can do that. That makes sense. Like, I've got young people want to buy bicycles and skateboards. Old people don't usually want to buy that stuff. So, of course, I'm going to try to market to the demographic that...
How dare you?
Huh?
How dare you?
How
dare you only market to people who will actually purchase your fucking product? Who do you think you are?
Because then I don't want to be trying to sell cameras to people who've already bought cameras.
Yeah.
No, I've got a supporter now.
Just sell cameras to a demographic of blind folk.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't feel like I should have to do that, and I don't think Facebook should have to enforce rules that make people do that. But 3 or 4
Okay, well, hang on. Facebook is not enforcing. Hang on. Facebook's not, and these advertising networks are not enforcing rules that force people that. The advertiser is making those choices.
No. This is what Facebook was accused of.
Oh, forcing people to. Oh, that's so dumb.
And they're using this metric and that metric and this metric and that metric, and they're not giving loans to people in certain areas. I'm like, you can't get, if you're getting fucking loans from Facebook, you got other fucking issues. Don't get your mortgage from Facebook.
That'd be like trying to get a mortgage from Craigslist.
Well, that's like something that someone said. Who was it? I think it was actually something Rachel Oates was saying about like, she brought up like for example of Victoria's Secret. Yeah, they don't cater to heavy set people. That's not their target demographic, and they shouldn't be forced.
Which I don't shop.
That's not their target demographic, and they shouldn't be forced to try and sell to everyone if that's not who they want to sell to. That's a completely different thing than degrading and denigrating the people you don't sell to.
But even if you split fucking Victoria's Secret, that's a perfect example. If you split Victoria's Secret into regional, national, all these like 15, 16, 100 different levels. Okay, I'm not selling Confederate flag, big, wide-ass panties up in fucking Detroit.
Right.
That would be Mrs. Big and Tall.
Okay.
That's not going to work there. So I should probably try that in Georgia or Alabama.
Yeah. Heat Shield mentioned in the side chat about
I will fight you, Heat Shield.
about not knowing who some of the people on the panel are. And yeah, I should get better about that. When we have a new person enter, we should give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Yes, we should. So, tell us who you are and how cool you are.
Yeah,
You go
pirate, tell him.
first. You
Tell
go
him,
first.
pirate.
Oh, pff. I'm Pirate Kitty. I'm nobody. I just talk a lot. And I
Lies.
tweet. Yeah, I know where
Yeah.
I know why the rum is gone.
Unfortunately, at this point, I think we need to kind of do this as the sign off. I need to wind this down because
Right.
StreamYards is starting to put the time limits on me.
I just want to say one thing in response to this Facebook stuff, like that Congress questioning Mark Zuckerberg. I found one thing very strange. Well, he delegates, and I thought his responses were quite reasonable, saying, "I'll get someone to get back to you within the week," and they were not satisfied with it.
Splattered across the fucking 401, 501, whatever that fucking shit is out there.
Okay,
105, he'd be gone.
Yeah, as I said here, we should probably go around
Sure.
Yay.
I did
the
mine.
channel.
Yeah, Pirate Kitty was just talking about how she pirates cat food, right?
Even that.
I did used to eat cat food as a little kid, so I mean,
Ew.
I tried it a
who
few times.
didn't? I mean, I'm pretty sure most
I
people,
didn't.
if they were left alone in the kitchen and there was a plate of cat food and you were 3 years old, you tried to eat the cat food.
Well, I ate the dry stuff sometimes because I was in it. We didn't have enough money for food, but I never ate the wet stuff.
Oh no! My parents wouldn't feed their cats wet food. We couldn't afford it.
I went the other way around. When I lived in New York, the tuna was cheaper than the cat food, so I just fed my cats tuna and eggs all the time.
Oh, those are happy cats.
At least there were the eggs in there. That's a good thing.
Stinky.
My sister used to eat milk cards.
So we've gone from Facebook to cat food. How wonderful.
Yes, how do you like that?
Well, I've got like a quarter tank of gas left in me, so I'll throw my things. Hi, I'm Mikey Famine. I run the Deviants. It's going to be the best thing that ever happened to your whole fucking life. As soon as I get this whole network going, there's going to be so many cool things for you to watch. There's going to be gaming. There's going to be arguments. There's going to be sexy stuff. All that shit is going to be available on youtube.com/c/thedeviants. It will be happening sooner than you think. But if you guys want to hang out after this, I will invite all of the people in the panel now, because StreamYards is on that bullshit. I got Streamlabs, and I can go as long as I want. We can do whatever we want, and I can put up anything. So, at We the Deviants on Twitter, hang out with me. I love y'all.
Well,
Me
and my
sexy
situation is I'm kind of stuck with StreamYards right now because my YouTube account is broken and will not connect to an OBS. So probably
I muted myself. I'm sorry. I can fix that for you. You just let me know.
This sexy stuff is going to be sponsored by Victoria's Secret, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've had several techie people look at it. I've had several techie people look at it, and the conclusion is it's something that YouTube's messed up in my settings and won't fix. Because my account will not pass a stream key to an OSB, period.
You can request a new stream key, or have you done that already?
That's accurate. Or you could use
we've done that several times.
Have you tried Restream.io? Boom goes the dynamite, and I've solved your problem in one fucking sentence. We'll do it when the stream is over. Everybody, Pirate Kitty, Lavender Lady, Randolph Richardson, and the Deviants have all said goodnight. Purple rhymes with orange. Tell the people where they can find you and your excellent content.
Okay.
That was well said.
I
like that. That was great.
I will check on the restream, but basically, like I said, I've had several people look at it, and my account's got a couple of other little quirks. Like I also cannot change the thumbnails after something's been completed. So my account is broken, and it looks like I am going to have to scrap my channel and start again.
Who told you that?
Save your videos first.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I'll just have to start a new channel and upload everything over there, but then I'll have to get things going.
Who did you talk to, if you don't mind?
Nadine and Nacha have both looked at it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'll look at it and then I'll let you know. Don't. Yeah, like that's not a thing. What they're saying is not a thing.
Well, what they're saying is they can't figure out what's going on because they've never seen anything like it.
Cool. That's 2 people out of like 5 billion people that have YouTube channels.
Well,
I'll take a look.
I've had a couple other people look at it too, but yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look at it, great.
It can't hurt to have an extra pair of eyes on it.
Yeah,
Myself and Randolph, I feel like we can both say we are indebted to your incredible service to the YouTube community, and we will do the best that we can to save what you have and fix whatever problems you are suffering from.
Yeah.
And we're good at it.
I think indebted's piling it on kind of thick, but
This is what happens when you like people. You feel indebted to them.
yeah.
You try to help them. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm indebted to my friends. You're a friend of mine.
That's awesome.
Okay,
There's
if,
no
next week for you to
conversation,
look at it. Because I've got a doctor's appointment in the morning, and yeah, basically pretty much booked up for the weekend. But
Soon. You
yeah,
guys will
if
figure out
you've got time, like next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, something in there.
I'm thinking about setting up my own secret private DMs channel. Use twos will be involved, so
Okay.
I'll add y'all to it, and then things like such, because I'm the small fish that's got a loud mouth, and I just want everyone to be on the same level of quality and help and all the, you know what I'm saying, like, because streaming on the internet is not easy. There's like several steps. Everyone just sees our beautiful faces and assumes that it was just like a click of a button. It's much more than that, and we can all help each other to make that a click of a button.
Yeah. Oh, and I've really seen that, just that we've kind of grown as a group. That a lot of small channels have been helping each other grow.
Randolph Link.
That's
Randolph Link.
Yeah.
Randolph Link in the chat.
Are you hooked up with me on Twitter? I think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I like about
Yeah,
this
but
one.
Randolph, why don't you drop a link for your webpage? Because
Oh.
you've got so many resources there.
Yes.
I've got a few here. So,
Oh God. The
so
good
I've,
one that's
I'm Randolph Richardson, the president of the Canadian Atheists. The website for the Canadian Atheists is at www.canadianatheists.ca. I also run the Atheist Frontier website, where I have a whole pile of resources, including most, if not everybody here's video channels in there, and many other great YouTubers. The address there is www.atheistfrontier.com. And you can reach me on Twitter at Randolph828.
there it is. Frontier.com.
That's Randolph spelled with an F.
And then I'm going to Control C. I'm going to go back to the video. I'm going to go into the chat. Control V. Shazam. Everybody, go to the Atheist Frontier. And then you can see all of our shit and a bunch of other people who aren't here right now, because they're sleepyheads and they're lame.
Yep. Yeah, Atheist Frontier has I don't know, it's pages of links for other atheist YouTubers you might not be familiar with. A lot
That's
of
in
good
the
people to
resources
check
section.
out.
Now, the resources section, I have things categorized. So it's under broadcasting where you'll find your channels. But there's a whole bunch of other categories as well. So I've tried to organize it so it's not just a page of links, but
Yep.
you can kind of find the subject matter that you're interested in. So,
And I'm in there, and I'm stupid as hell.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah.
and Diana, what have you got coming up this weekend?
well, ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between, on my show, Coffee with Lavender, Sunday at noon Eastern, I'm going to be having a little discussion. Anybody who wants to come in, please do. The topic, which we might hold to for about the first 5 minutes, are holiday traditions gained and lost, especially in the journey from faith to non-belief. What things did you do then that you don't do anymore? What things did you not do then that you do now? Invented any new traditions, threw away old ones. I'm sure that'll last at least 5 minutes, and then we can get on to all the other stuff. I'd really like, especially those of you who have the backstories that involve the very religious sorts of things. What did you do? And let's hear from the people who don't have deconversion stories. What did you do then? And maybe still do, maybe don't do. Let's get a whole big group going and see what we can talk about. Yay!
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 I'm super excited because I am about 10 channels in the alphabetical thing above Lavender Lady on atheistfrontier.com. And that, I don't have much going for me, but I made the Atheist Frontier. So,
I'm so glad you all like this. Pirate Kitty, do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, but
Okay.
I've got exactly one video, and it's got nothing to do. No, my
her unboxing her new kitty pirate toys. It is a plank that is covered with fuzzy stuff, and she scratches at it very ferociously.
No, it's a couple of kitten videos, some Minecraft stuff, and then you remember when everybody did that Tommy McMurtry as a pumpkin fucker thing a couple months back?
No.
Oh, I remember that. That's with the NIFT stuff, right?
Yeah, I made one of those. I'm not saying he's sexually attracted to pumpkins things, and that's the only thing I've put out.
You had sex with a pumpkin on fucking YouTube? They're gonna ban you. You're not allowed to do that. You can't do that.
Yeah, you're supposed to use cantaloupes instead, right?
Right.
Those are the boobs, though. But that's what's supposed to.
Did you see that lady who got banned from Twitter because she was fingering fruit?
Yeah.
That she had split in half, and then got banned for pornographic content. I'm like, no, that's your imagination, my good people. That is literally a peach that she's literally just going.
There must be more to
all
the
the
story.
rest within your head.
There must be more to the story because there are people on Twitter who regularly post pornography hardcore.
Well, hers was funny and ironic, and it got too much attention. And that's when it got the attention of non-reasonable minded people, and then they all started flagging it as a group, and that's when it got out of there. I'm like, she's literally putting her fingers in a fucking peach. I don't know that that's pornographic. It's a piece of fruit, and that's a human
sex
hand.
education.
She could be punching up. She could be Gallagher up there.
No, but the point was to make it look. I mean, her goal was to actually make it look like she's fingering a lady.
Oh, what? You guys got that out of that?
It sounds like sex education to me.
I don't. How would anyone get her putting her fingers between the split halves of a peach and think that was sexual? How did y'all get that? I thought she was just rubbing fruit. I never thought anything sexual of it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm trying to
I
find
didn't see it.
When a mommy peach and a daddy peach really love each other.
When the pistil and stamen.
No, but
Where does
see,
the
Diana,
spark
they
come?
can't do that because if two peaches get together, then they're a pair.
Oh shit! That was like the king me.
Oh, Screen
move.
Kitty, are you trying to share
Hold on.
something here?
Yeah, give me 1 second. I gotta disable.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's. Do pause on the site. I just have to turn off
It's
the
not-
ad blocker for a
it's not-
second.
It's not
Yep.
nasty by any means. It's not.
Okay,
gross.
you can show it.
It's just
Oh, okay.
a hand and a fruit. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I certainly don't see them, why they would make a big fuss about it, but okay, yeah, I can see how that's a bit suggestive.
How is it suggestive? It's two fingers and a piece of fruit.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like There's anime shit that they ignore that's a hell of a lot worse than that.
Purple
That
rhymes
is
with
literally a
orange.
human.
Don't worry about it. He's just trolling you.
That is literally, that's a fucking papaya. Okay? Does anyone recognize as a papaya? No, of course. That's a kiwi. It's a little milky.
Wow. I'm
It's a
impressed because you really know your fruits.
That right there is a blood orange. That is a cantaloupe. There is a lime.
Where
That's
did
a
this video go? There's a video that
That's
I
a
try to get to
strawberry.
play.
She just put her finger in a strawberry. What's wrong with her
Ah.
sticking her finger in a strawberry? What's the problem? You dirty-minded folk. Her hasn't done
Let me
nothing.
see.
That's nothing wrong with her putting her finger on a piece of fruit. Unless y'all
Well,
are
that is a bit different. You know, there is a difference between putting your finger in a piece of fruit and putting your finger in a fruit.
Okay,
Stop it.
I found video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were so upset by this. It's a cantaloupe. She's just getting the seeds out.
Oh, Jesus. Fisting a cantaloupe. I love it.
She's getting the seeds out. You can't eat the seeds. Can anyone eat the seeds? Does anyone know anyone that eats the seeds out of a cantaloupe? No, you pull them out. And she's just literally de-seeding a blood orange.
Okay,
And that kiwi is very frustrated, obviously. And she's just rubbing the kiwi. It's her kiwi. She bought it.
I suppose you
And
can
then
do whatever
she's-
she wants. Yeah.
And then she done smushed it. It's a piece of fruit. You little dirty birds. Oh God. Oh God.
I saw that one before.
Yeah, on Neil's channel, probably.
You know what? Just so that I can stop him, I have to stop her too. All this fruit shit is totally. I went a big rubbery one on this one. All of it must be stopped.
Ooh.
The fruit must be ended forevermore.
Yes. Oh, my, oh, my.
But she was literally just getting the seeds out of fruit. And I don't understand why everyone was so aroused by a cantaloupe being de-seeded.
Well, at least she was getting it out rather than getting it off, you know?
So are you saying that Twitter knew they were aroused?
Okay.
Twitter
So
told on themselves by blocking that channel.
I recall that in an interview somewhere that somebody was asking a retired judge how he decided pornography cases,
Harvey
and he said, "If it turns me on, it's porn."
Ew. That tells me way too much about that judge.
Yeah, I was glad he was retired and off the bench.
So we were supposed to be wrapping up because Purple's got
Yeah.
a limit.
Yeah, we're already half hour over schedule.
Yeah, because unfortunately, StreamYards is going to limit me to 20 hours per month. So
Oh,
if I
that
take
is
up too much
people.
time now, I may not be able to broadcast during the last week of the month.
There is another way.
Well, yes.
Well,
But
if you can
until-
help me with that, that would be wonderful.
We will talk when the stream is over.
Okay, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Okay, Mikey, if
No,
we can
that's
talk on
the
that next week, because I also can't stay up too late tonight because I've got a doctor's appointment first thing in the morning.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me.
And unfortunately for me, the clinic is an hour drive each way, so I've got to make sure I'm actually awake enough to drive it in the snow.
I have Friendsgiving tomorrow, which is
Oh,
where
boy.
all of us peoples who don't like our families get together, and we have a great, beautiful banquet feast amongst our friends.
Yep.
And it's glorious, and it's fun, and it's always a good time.
Oh, yes.
And once I'm done with that, you hit me up, Purple. And then we can talk about things to get you off of StreamYards. Sorry, StreamYards. I know everyone's using them now, but there's a better alternative.
Well, yeah, StreamYards was good, but they did exactly what I expected them to.
Yep.
Once they
Because-
became popular, they hiked up the rates and started putting on limitations.
Told you.
Yeah,
feel
well, and that's what I was telling people from the first week I started using it. Just the way their webpage read, I knew this is what they were going to do.
Yep.
They
That
nailed it.
has been their plan since day one, and I have a platform that is a comparable price, which is much more reasonable, and I can give you all of the access to it because I don't use it for my show. So
Okay. Yeah, well, for me, basically anything that I'm going to have to pay a monthly fee on, I really can't get into because I can't be sure I will have the money every month.
Yeah.
Mikey, is the one you use limited to just 6 participants?
nope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a limit?
It's limited to 50.
Oh, fantastic.
So
Yeah,
if you got
it would be nice. There have been a couple of
51
times that
people-
we've wanted to have, more than 6 people in here.
if you want 51 people, then I don't know how to help you. But if you want less than 50, then I have a solution.
The problem with having 50 people on panel is that they end up talking over each other all the time, and it's
Yeah.
It is impossible to have 51 people speaking freely.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah,
is literally
I mean, we
impossible.
Nice
have
to put a
trouble
dozen
sometimes
together,
with
though.
just 6.
Yeah, I can't see it as being at all functional with more than about 10 people.
But I have a
my.
way for you to mute all those people. So we'll talk about this after the show is over.
Okay, well,
Mikey, were you
so
saying you wanted
thanks
to start a
everybody
stream
for
right after
coming.
this?
I'm going to shut down the YouTube broadcast now.
Oh
Just a
boy.
second. Mikey, you wanted to start a stream after this?
So we will
Yeah, I can
catch
do
you
that.
all later.
Okay. Thanks very much.
Yay.
Holler.
So everybody, good night, good morning, whatever time it is where you are.
Oh, wait. Don't close it yet because I'm going to send the link real quick
Oh, okay.
in the side chat. And then we can all leave. And if you've got, okay, we're clear, right?
Not yet. No, you told me to wait, so
Clear.
okay. So disconnecting from YouTube right now. And